Welcome back to another episode of the SiXFramesPodcast.
Ooh, that wasn't even ready. Ooh, 6 frames.
Got you off guard, huh?
That's how you get them.
What episode is this?
28.
29.
Oh, 29.
29.
Oh. Yet to cut us off.
Yeah, of course it's episode 29. We wouldn't forget twice in a row. Episode of the SiXFramesPodcast YouTube search. Episode 28, of course.
Oh, yes.
Don't take us for a fool.
It is episode 28.
I mean 29, I'm sorry.
29. What?
29.
I mean, I saw 28 on the thumbnail.
So you said 28 after
That's
looking it up. Okay. We know it's 29.
We know.
Fully aware.
So, yes. Welcome to episode 29 of SiXFramesPodcast. Woo!
All right.
What a great build-up.
What a great build-up.
It was awesome.
So on tonight's podcast, we have...
Lamp.
Jacob.
What were you waiting for? Somebody to point at you?
I don't know. The way Lamb did Lamb.
Lord have mercy. Jamal here.
Kevin.
Boys in the hood, guys. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Boys in the hood. That's right.
So, first topic.
And before we start,
And
spoiler.
before we okay, of course.
Yes.
Spoiler alert
Spoiler.
for those of you who have yet to watch the Joker movie.
You should be kicking yourself not to watch.
And shame yourself. Like, honestly, it's that good of a movie. So, pause right here. Go watch the movie. Do something. Get some food, drinks, or get in your car and drive back, and then you go ahead and listen to this podcast.
For reals.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're not holding anything back. Nothing. Still. So as you can tell, we'll be talking about Joker.
Yep.
So that's why you brought me here? To laugh at me?
Oh, you invited him on this show to laugh at him.
Woo!
Is that
Murray?
Murray?
All right, Jimmy Fallon.
Boy, Jimmy looks so shook when he said it. You're like, hold up.
Did he actually do that in the show?
I don't know.
No, I think that's just a meme.
I wish he
There's a
did.
meme.
That would be
But
funny.
I will say, when he was on, not Jimmy Fallon, but Jimmy Kimmel, when he was doing the interview, it just felt it felt weird. Like, you could tell he was kind of uncomfortable being there because, like, they weren't really, like, meshing well with the jokes and the punchlines. Like, with Jimmy Fallon, it felt a little bit more natural. Like, he was super chill with Jimmy Fallon, and it felt more personal and one-on-one, and they were kind of going back and forth with the banter. And then, did you see the interview with Jimmy Fallon?
I seen both.
Like, there was a part where, like, Jimmy Fallon was like, all right, they like him more than me, so he got up and left. And so Joaquin Phoenix sat in the seat. He's like, all right, my show now. First guest coming up. Like, you could tell he had fun doing it. But on Jimmy Kimmel's, I didn't get that same vibe. And I say that because there was a segment on there where he was asking him about the dancing, right? Because he dances in the movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, you were actually like, he was like, you're pretty good with the dancing in the film. He was like, did you used to dance? Was it choreographed? He was like, yeah, it was. He was like, we worked on it. And he was like, I think I'm a pretty good dancer. He was like, really? He was like, did you dance as like a kid or something? Did you dance growing up? He was like, yeah, I was into that. I did a lot of dancing. I'm from the West Coast, so he said he did a lot of break dancing and pop locking and stuff.
Oh,
right. So yeah, that's what Joaquin.
Of course,
Jaquan was pop locking boy. He was getting that. And so So Jimmy Kimmel was like, oh, did you used to dance in front of like crowds of people, like on the street? You know how most people do, and they throw coins and money.
Yeah.
So he was like, nah. He's like, nah, I didn't do all that. He's like, I just kind of like danced in my room or just like, kind of kept it to myself. He's like, I thought I was pretty good at it, but I didn't feel like I needed an audience to get their approval to say, oh, you're really good. I just did it because that's how I express myself. So Jimmy Kimmel's like, he's like, oh, so wait, you were in your room with the cardboard box on the floor and you just breakdancing in your room by yourself on the cardboard box? And of course the crowd laughs. They're like, ha 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 ha. And then Joaquin Phoenix just has this look on his face, bro. It was real quick, but you have to watch the segment. And he kind of just looks at Jimmy Kimmel and he's like, he's like, yeah. He's like, and I understand you're trying to make fun of it and you think it's funny, but it was serious to me. Just like that. I was like, what?
Bruh,
I was like, this is kind of weird. I was like, this is kind of cringy. I was like,
I was in
alright.
that crowd, bro. My eyes were
And then Jimmy Kimmel was like,
fine.
and because he's used to doing the talk show, he got to keep the flow going. So he didn't stop and like marinate on it. He just kept it going.
Oh.
He was kind of like, all right, next thing, blah, 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 blah. And just kept the show rolling. But I caught that moment because he just kind of looked at him. He was like, yeah, you're making fun of it, but to me it was serious.
But waiting for that not joke.
That knock joke.
Oh no!
I just thought it was interesting. I was like, man, it's crazy how you can just these actors and actresses, they can just get lost in the character roles, and it almost becomes them.
Oh no!
And like in that moment, like I saw it, I was like, bro, this is just like how he was on the movie.
About to pull out a gun.
For my routine.
for my next act.
Oh lord!
Oh goodness.
So how you want to do this? You want to go like through the sequence of order in the movie, or you guys just want to jump around?
Let's jump around.
Yeah.
Jump around? Okay. Well, I mean, you can start off with like how you felt about it, what you like, what you didn't care for. We can each say our piece, right?
I didn't care for the Wayne family. Like, even though they still served a purpose in the movie, I gave zero shits. In fact, in the ending where like I said, we're spoiling it, but so in the ending when Joker got back up and they were like showing the chaos in the city, and the Waynes got out the theaters, I actually clapped.
Terrible.
Because they were walking to...
Oh, because you knew what was...
I knew exactly what was coming up, so I'm like clapping, like, yep, and this is how it starts. This is how it starts.
Yeah.
And it just felt grand. Like in a very, very sick way. It felt right. You know, like a perfect balance. Wayne's parents had to die in order for Batman to live. Yeah. And yeah, it was great. I didn't care for the Wayne, but like the whole movie, Arthur?
Yeah.
His name is Arthur Fleck, right?
Arthur Fleck. Everything about his character is just brimming with personality. Like you know everything about him throughout the whole movie, and like how everything will and can affect him over time throughout the course of the movie, and then it just starts hitting the notes and everything's just, oh my god, it's great. I don't have any words for it now because like even now I'm still like processing the whole movie, like getting all my thoughts together about just how the Arthur character before Joker, well obviously before Joker, but just Arthur himself, such a tragic character, and just from the beginning of the movie, like I want to cry. I told these guys, but I didn't tell you. But at the beginning of the movie, when it starts, and you're hearing like all the bad news of what's going on in Gotham, and he's putting on his makeup, and he's forcing himself to smile. I was about to cry because it just set the story, it just set the mood there. Yeah, things are bad, people aren't happy, everyone's struggling, and you see Arthur also just trying to put on a happy face, trying to like live through it, but it's hard for him to do so. Just like everyone else, and it's already like, damn, we're already in a shit show now, so it could only get worse, and boy, does it. It does it. Woo! But yeah. So that's how I felt majority from between like the Wayne and Arthur. His mom, like the other characters, surprisingly I forgot her name. The female character.
The girl, the quote unquote love interest. What was her name in the movie? StunnahSezbeatz. That's her real name, StunnahSezbeatz.
So we'll call it Zaz for shorts.
You call it whatever you want.
I don't think they give her a name.
I don't think so.
No, she has a name in the movie.
Maybe.
She has a name in the movie.
They only said it once then.
Yeah.
Damn.
Let's see.
It doesn't matter because everyone's real.
Sophie. Her name was Sophie.
Her name was Sophie.
Sophie, like even though like her character has a big role, even though it wasn't a big role, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like it played such a huge role, but it just didn't but it wasn't a big role. It was just
It was a
play.
It was significant enough.
Yeah.
It was significant enough.
But I'm just saying, like, it's like the way that they was able to I don't know
Incorporate it.
like play it out.
Yeah.
Her role as a character, like you would think that she would be like a prominent character in the entire series, like throughout the whole movie, but she is, but she isn't, and it hits. Like I don't know the words for it at the moment, so I'll just give it off to someone else because I'm still. So anyone else want to pick up the ball? Yeah.
Okay, for me.
To Jacob.
Okay, for me, that whole elevator scene with her, like.
Oh, when she does the finger.
Yeah, it sort of played off.
Arthur gets on the elevator. He's going home, ending kind of his rough day, and she's on the elevator. Sophie's on the elevator with him, and then that's when she kind of looks at him. She's like, because it was her daughter, right? Her daughter did something silly.
She was just.
No, it was the elevator that broke down.
That's what it was. The elevator was broke, and they were stuck there, and she was like, oh, this building's terrible. It's falling apart.
And then her daughter kept on yapping, too.
Right, so she kind of does the finger bang to her head, kind of like, oh, God, kill me now. Shoot me. Yeah.
And then, like, when she gets out, and when he gets off, he's like...
He's like a very exaggerated.
Right, he exaggerates the same motion, and it was kind of awkward. But she kind of just looked at him and like a little chuckle, and then went to her apartment. Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there on, it just kind of played off like, oh yeah, they're together.
Right. You
and
me,
and it's
me
like
and
this
you.
sort of
So happy that
like this sort of fantasy type of
the
dreamland
only
sequence.
one.
Yeah, exactly.
So happy together.
Pretty much. That's how that went.
Bro, like sometimes like I kind of fell for him. Like he wanted this about like somebody to support him in these tough times.
Yeah.
And when that came out to not be true, I was like, I mean, you couldn't pull that, my brother. You couldn't pull that. But like
to be real.
But like my whole change throughout the movie was like in the beginning I felt bad for him because he was just trying to do this job, hold the sign out. These kids come in, just run away with the sign, lure him into an alleyway, pow! And you just see him just in the ground like in fetal position, I guess.
Yeah, fetal position.
And like I could relate to him. Not in a movie theater type of way, like, oh I feel your pain, brother.
Let's just say when we were ready for that. Like when we went to the theater, we were waiting for somebody to be like to stand up and be like, I know how you feel.
I too am an underdog.
We were like, hey, we all know our exit. Right?
I'm tripping.
Like just seeing him declining, like his mental state declining, I was just like, dang it, bro. Like I could understand like what you did, and the movie is sort of deep. Some people will not get it. They just think it's like an agenda for mass shooting and whatever. But like if you've been through that type of state before, you know, oh my God, things are not panning out the way you want it to. Life is just out of control. You got to do whatever you can to get by. Bruh, it just hits you right there in the feels. And like, some funny moments. I didn't want to laugh at some of them, but like, when he killed that boy Randall.
That's the funniest part of the movie.
And then when he lunged at this little guy.
So wait. Tell them who you have to tell them who Randall is.
Yeah, Randall is the guy who.
From the beginning, in the beginning, Randall is a partner or
he's one of the clowns.
Co-worker.
Co-worker. So they work for this agency that hires actors and clowns and stuff like that, like entertainment type of thing. And yeah, Randall was one of the other clowns that works a part of that same little agency that gets them jobs. And pretty much Randall set him up, right? He gave him a gun.
After the events of him getting jumped in the alley, he heard about it, and then he decided to like give him Arthur the gun, which he wasn't supposed to have.
Right. And the gun falls out while he's performing for children at a hospital, sick kids at a hospital. And he tries to pretend like it's, it is funny when it falls out. He tries to play it off.
He's like, oh.
Right? Like it was part of his act, whatever. But then Randall kind of flips the script on him and tells their boss, like, oh, he was asking for a gun a few days ago and blah, blah, blah. And like he was planning it the whole time. So pretty much he got fired because of it.
Yeah.
Now fast forward to where Jacob's at, talking about how he ended up stabbing Randall.
Because he was the beginning, one of the first instances of him breaking down. It was like helping, like, shatter the ice before he breaks free. Before the Joker breaks free.
Before the Joker breaks free. Right. Go ahead, Jacob.
Boy, when he walked in with the little short dude, I don't know his name. Like,
the little guy.
I'll call him Little Gru. I call him Little Gru.
Little Gru.
When they walk in and, they're just, like, they're acting concerned over Arthur. He's like, hey, man, we heard what happened, man. I know you were fired, but are you okay? Are you okay about your mother?
Yeah, that's right. His mother also died.
Yeah.
We'll get to her.
Eventually.
We'll get to her.
We'll get to her eventually.
But, like, they're just concerned about him, and he's like, yeah, I've never felt better. He just, like, he pulls out a knife somewhere from his back pocket.
It was scissors.
Scissors,
yeah.
He comes up to him.
And
then the little dude's like, oh, Arthur, what did you do?
Yeah, no, he was in shock. He couldn't, like, literally just watch him just kill this guy I came in here with.
Yeah, but it was hilarious. I was dying, so I was like, yo. And then when Randall fell to the ground after all that blood happened, Arthur lunged at him.
After he told him, hey, you could leave. I'm not going to kill you. You could leave.
Yeah, he pretty much assured him that it's okay. You were one of the few people who were actually nice to me, so he offered to let the little guy go. And right when he was going out the door, he kind of like jump scared him, kind of like lunged at him. He was like, ah! And he took off running.
He took off running and he tried to get to the door, and the door won't open. And he saw the lock and he tried to jump to reach it.
Yeah, because he put the chain lock on the door, and being that he's a little person, he couldn't reach the chain lock. So he's like, Arthur, can you let me out?
Oh, shit.
And Arthur goes up to him and kisses him on the head.
No, he opens it, he opens it, and then he closes it. And he's like, you've always been nice to me. And he kisses him.
Yeah, then he kisses him.
And then he runs away.
He's like, he hobbles away.
He hauls ass as soon as he opens that door, bro. Oh my god.
Another unsettling part was when he walked up to Bruce Wayne's manor and put his fingers in his mouth after learning that
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, after learning that probably Thomas Wayne might be his father because of Penny Fleck. She had a letter, or he went to the asylum and he got the records detailing that.
No. You're jumping the gun.
But all right, so here's what he wants to get to.
Yeah.
So, and throughout the whole course of the movie, when you meet Arthur's mom, she's always talking about Thomas Wayne, who she worked for in the past, and how she wants to she keeps wanting him to send him letters because she wants him to help them because since she worked for Thomas Wayne before. And since he was so nice, and they were nice together, there was she felt that Thomas could financially help Arthur and her and Arthur in their financial situation, and she just keeps reminding Arthur to send the mail to Mr. Thomas, to Thomas Wayne. He could help us. As soon as he gets it, he'll learn that we're in a state of disaster, and he could help us get us out of this poverty,
or receive the letters, check the mail.
Or if we send back the letters from the mail, so Arthur has to keep checking the mailbox to see if Thomas Wayne sent it. So, that's what's been going on with their mother, Penny, was it?
Penny, yeah.
Yep.
Penny. So Penny Fleck, and throughout the course of the movie, she keeps acting, and over the time, Arthur's just doing his own thing. He's going out with Sophia. He's preparing for acts and whatever. He's going through
he's feeling himself.
Yeah, and then he comes home, and
After the
comedy show.
no, after he went to the psychiatrist
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when
that gives him pills.
that's when
They
they closed down.
yeah,
right?
and they're like, well, we're shutting down. We're
Yeah.
not doing anything.
So after his psychiatrist company starts to close down, that's when he comes back home. The mother reminds him to send him the email. That's not the email, but the mail again. And before he does so, he opens it and starts to read it. And when he starts reading it, he starts getting like all this information about what his mother's been writing to Thomas Wayne, which involves how Penny and Thomas Wayne had a love affair, and how Arthur was
adopted,
like the
son of
in the
Wayne.
letter.
In the letter,
he's kind of like the illegitimate child of Thomas Wayne. Like
And
he's their bastard son.
Yeah. So it hits Arthur hard, and he gets mad at his mom, trying to understand like what the hell's going on, and his mom is like stuck in the bathroom trying to keep him out because she knows he was gonna be mad about for like finding out the information. Then a little bit time passes, he gets the whole information, and he makes his way down to Wayne Manor.
Yeah.
He has on his clown facade, whatever. He's walking down. He sees a
right,
young.
he ducks down and comes back with a red nose.
that was already a red flag right there. But then he sees like a young, Bruce Wayne, and then Bruce Wayne follows him to like the front gate, and he plays with him. He's like, "Hey, what's your name, Bruce?" He's doing like little magic tricks because he still has that clown facade with him, and like Bruce is not like having none of it, man. He's like a stone cold face, like. What is this dude doing?
Yeah,
like
Bruce,
he wasn't smiling, he wasn't chuckling. That kid was.
He was lifeless.
He was a dead kid, man.
Yeah,
that's
which is fine because Kevin told me that. Well, Kevin said that that they gave him more character. That it was like it'll put too much focus on him because they have to start building him too.
Right.
And the main focus is
Arthur. Yeah, Arthur.
Because if they gave Bruce Wayne it's also maybe a little bit kind of a lazy way of doing it because maybe they could have given him a little bit of personality, right? But if they started giving him personality because he is Batman,
right,
it would just take the focus away from Joker, right?
Because then more people be like, well, I want to see Bruce Wayne, I want to see Batman.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what they do. So just during that entire time, he's just trying to make Bruce smile, but he doesn't like crack a smile at all. So he goes up to the front gate, take his nasty little fingers and put it in his cheeks, and he goes all up in there like a dentist.
Right, stretches his cheeks out.
This makes him smile.
Pause.
My mouth do.
Put on a happy
So that part, that was like. That part kind of stuck out to you the most.
Yeah, it was unsettling. It was just, I wouldn't even let a random man do that to me, son. Like, much less if I was a kid.
Right.
It was weird. And then Alfred came in. He's like, hey, what you doing?
I didn't even know that was Alfred.
I kind of figured it was Alfred. Once I saw that he was like the butler and he had the British accent, I was like, okay, that must be Alfred.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Don't touch my kid.
Master Wayne.
Yeah. And from then on, he just Alfred and Arthur, they exchange words. He tells Alfred that he's the son of Thomas Wayne, and that what's his name?
His mom is Penny.
Yeah, his mom is Penny, and that Bruce is pretty much his half brother and whatever.
And then he's like, "What? Your mom's crazy."
Yeah,
right, because he knew, because again he works for the Waynes.
Yeah.
So as soon as he said it, he was like, "Oh, you're the son of the woman who's been sending the letters," and like he knew. He's like, "All right, I know exactly who you are,
sir. Your mom's crazy."
Yeah, and he kind of like, "What? What do you mean? Why would you say such awful things about my mother?"
He snapped.
Yeah.
And then he runs away like a clown.
Bro, I love his running. I love when he runs. It has so much character.
It does.
It's Arthur's run. That's Joker's run.
Very exaggerated. Yeah. He was very exaggerated.
He was running like a clown. He moved like a clown.
Mm-hmm. He did.
Yeah.
Kevin, what did you like or didn't care for in the movie, or what stuck out the most?
Well, I could see this being like this generation's like what you call Fight Club, or movies like that speaks to people,
Yeah.
You know, so you're gonna see like college kids with posters of the Joker.
Right. His little quotes from the movie quotes.
Yeah, I could see this being something.
Quotes.com.
A lot of young people, you know, watching this movie and being inspired. Not in that way.
Yeah.
But you know, it's very interesting because like after watching it and like, you know, because I read the comics, and so knowing the Joker, like the thing about the Joker is that he never really has like a backstory to him. He was just like this entity that showed up, you know, and he's the biggest thing about the Joker is that he was mysterious. That's the whole mystique about him, is that he's mysterious. And so that now that we have this movie where, you know, it goes in depth on a character that doesn't really have an origin story except for the Killing Joke, right? But that's one of many he has. Is like it's very interesting how this take and how believable they make him. So that's the one thing that really impressed me about this movie, you know. And the other thing that, you know, being a little critical, because I felt like in some aspects there's a part in the movie, well, in the whole movie I love it, but I felt like there's something off, and I felt that kind of took away from it being like the great movie, you know, because it's a good movie, but it's not. I mean, it's not a great movie because it felt like there's something in it that kind of kicks it a peg down a little bit, and it's not like you don't, you know, not most people won't see it, but like, you know, when you start, you know, watching this type of movies like a lot, you kind of see like, all right, so we're seeing the struggle, we're seeing how he is, right, and then when you see him later on at the show, right, where he's making his big speech, which I think that speech is great, but at the same time it's like telling the audience again what we just watched, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, why are they doing that? We already seen that, you know? And that was something that was like in my mind, because there was something that I didn't like for some reason, and I guess it was just that part towards the end where he's just explaining things to us or something.
I could get that. I guess, well, because the thing is, I see it a little bit differently. Because rather than him like speaking to, like, I could see where you see speaking to us directly, but at the same time, I feel as if he's because like, you know, he's in the talk show.
Oh yeah.
He's talking to like the audience watching the movie and the audience of
the crowd.
The crowd. Yeah. So he's like letting them know who they created for ignoring him, not helping him, letting everything go bad, not doing anything to like make things better for people, and that he's like one of the many examples of their creation. I don't know if I say I hate it, but I don't hate it. I just found it off after we just watched it. Yeah. Why am I being told again? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I get you.
So, but I don't hate it. I heard, it's funny because I saw some. I kind of hurt myself a little bit because I saw some podcasts about it. I kind of a little bit because I needed to know more about this movie, right? Yeah. It was too much, and so the other part, I don't know. You remember? You ever watch Brilliant Idiots? Yeah. So they did a review, right? And he was talking about how he didn't like when he went to the talk show and he was acting scared again, right? Mm-hmm. When he met the
idol,
his idol Murray, and he's like, he didn't hit because towards that part he was brave, you know, and he was gonna go and do what he's gonna do. But like I realized, from my perspective, it's like the reason why he's scared is because he's meeting his idol for the first time. Right. No, of course. He's sitting in the seat that he wanted to sit for the longest.
Right. He was dreaming about. Sitting on the bed next to his mother. He was daydreaming about being on the show and introducing himself in the world. Mm-hmm. seeing him for the first time and laughing at his jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course he's gonna be nervous. I can go for that.
Yeah, and so, and the instant that he becomes brave again is that when he starts to realize, like, oh, this is what I was this is where I wanted to go, but this is not the place to be because because at that point when he was trying to make his jokes and stuff and try to do his original plan was to kill himself.
Yeah.
I think he had that realization that I'm gonna kill myself for this guy who's making fun of me, you know, and all these other people that don't care because he was trying to do it to finally people get be caring to him for the first time.
Yeah.
And so when he realized like, oh, they don't even care, that's where he switched and then kills him. Which that's the best part. That was the greatest.
What do you get when you have an unstable, mentally ill? What did he say? Something like that. And you bring him on the show to make fun of him. You get what you deserve. And just straight up lets Robert De Niro have it and just shoots him right in the goddamn head. I was not expect that. Like I was like, oh, it just felt so like real, bro. Like he just
really did.
It's like he just really just shot this man in the goddamn head.
Yeah.
Because like most movies, you see people get shot all the time. And you just kind of go with it, like, he's dead. But when he shot him in the head, it was like, oh shit! And everybody was screaming and scared and nervous because they didn't know what he was gonna do. And then he got up and just kept shooting him until he ran out of bullets. Oh my gosh, that movie was crazy. That was like the apex right there. That was like the big build up.
Yeah.
Because throughout the whole movie, there's this tension that's building and building. Gotham's on edge. The middle class and lower class people are tired of the rich and the elite always running stuff and not looking out for them. Because that was a big focus of the film too.
Yeah.
Because often, fiction reflects reality or vice versa. So they take a lot of elements of what's going on now and kind of tie it into the film. And that was like a big message that they were showing. That like the lower class is just tired of the upper class, like just running everything.
Yep.
And the Waynes are like the top of the food chain. They own everything. They own all the major businesses. They run all the big corporations. Thomas Wayne is like the man.
Yeah.
He has his hands in everything, and he pretty much controls all the politics. So whenever something happens, he's the first one on TV to speak his mind, and everybody kind of just
sit down and listen.
Right, like sheep, right? The herd just follow. And that was a big focus. What do you want to say, Jake?
Yeah, and didn't that happen when Arthur was in the subway train, I guess. And those two rich guys was just
the three rich guys.
Yeah, they was just wondering, why are you laughing, buddy? And then they went up to him and they did the beating to him, and Arthur just put up.
So translation for Jacob.
They beat him up.
And because this is the scene that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
When Arthur's on the subway laughing, the guys are looking at him like, what are you laughing at? Because before that, they were harassing this girl.
Yeah, it was a little rapey.
Right, it was a little rapey. These three rich guys, they just, he was trying to offer something to the girl or compliment her.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, hey, don't you hear him? He's like, he's complimenting you. He's being nice. Yeah. You should say something back.
Yeah,
like, give in a little to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, ew, no, like, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I'm not talking to you. And so before Arthur could, like, interject and say something to intervene, he just starts laughing because he suffers from, I can't think of the name of it, but it's called PBA.
Yeah.
So, like, anytime you get in those situations, like, either you laugh uncontrollably or you can cry uncontrollably. Like, just one of those, like, emotions just hits you and you can't control it. Mm-hmm. So he started laughing. And they were like, what the hell? Like, why is this guy laughing at us? Mm-hmm. So then that's when they approach him and they start fucking with him. Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's so funny. Is there a joke? Is there something that we don't get? And they're kind of messing with him and playing with him. And then before you know it, the guy grabs him and he's like, hold him. And then that's when he punches him.
No, they grab his wig.
Yeah, the guy takes his wig off. And Arthur's trying to make them stop. And then he kicks one of them, right? Doesn't he punch one or kick one of the guys?
I think so.
If I'm not mistaken. And then that's... Right, because he tries to get him off of him. He tries to fight back.
And because of that, that's when they went and
Right, and that's when the guy grabs him and he knocks him down, and then they started kicking him and stomping him and punching him. And then that was it. Arthur just pulls out the gun
And you hear
that the other guy gave him earlier.
Randall.
That gave him earlier. And he shoots one of the kids.
I was when he shot when that happened, I was like, whoa! That was the only time. And the last scene, I wasn't surprised.
Yeah, because
but this part, I was like, whoa!
And I have to give it to the director, Todd Phillips.
Yes.
Amazing guy, amazing. He was the writer, the director, and the producer for this movie. And that camera angle was just perfect. Because you're down from what Arthur sees, and the guys are just beating him up and standing over him, and then the next thing you notice, 2 gunshots just hit the guy in the chest and he falls back. You're like, what the hell? What just happened? And you're trying to like process it. And even the other guys were like caught off guard, like, what the?
Yeah,
Did he just get shot? And then when they realize it, it's too late. Arthur gets up, shoots the guy, he shoots the other guy, and then the third guy takes off running so he could try to escape from him.
It became a horror movie quick.
Real quick, yeah. It went from like this poor guy getting beat up to, you better run. He's gonna kill you. You saw what he did to your homeboys.
For real though.
For real.
That was amazing. That was an amazing shot.
That was a really good scene. Yeah, Jake.
And then like, after all of that is said and done, you got Thomas Wayne resonating with these guys that got shot, the rich guys. And that's when the whole chaos starts. So everybody's like, why you stand up for them? It's about time somebody got those eagles. Like, it was just like, ooh.
Yeah, because here you got these 3 super rich guys who go to whatever.
No, they work for Wayne Industries. So he works for
They were
Wayne.
like interns or something,
yeah,
right?
In
college or whatever Ivory school they go to. And yeah, so Wayne, these are young guys that were up and coming, super smart, and they had a bright future ahead of them. But here they are harassing, beating up this poor guy on the subway. And so why do they get off? And because he reacted and defended himself and shot them, now we're all gonna cry for them. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not for shooting and violence and all that other crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But you never know what people are going through. You
Yeah.
should not be bothering people or messing with people. Give people their space. And they were harassing him, and he was just on edge. That was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I think my favorite part out of that whole process was the perspective. Like it's always to me it's always important to know both sides of the story in whatever situation, whether it's like law, court, crimes and all that stuff, because it's so you can have a better understanding of what each person is, And so you already know that Arthur shot those 3 guys, and everyone, including Thomas Wayne, is looking out for the 3 guys that got shot. And so the scene where Thomas Wayne is on TV and he's talking about the guys who got shot, and it's after, Arthur sees how the clown facade is getting increasing in popularity because of what he did. He goes home and he sees Thomas Wayne talking about the incident, so he wants to hear what he has to say. I don't remember, but he wants to see what he has to say.
Oh, Thomas Wayne?
Yeah, but I was trying to remember whether or not it was before or after he knew about the whole he might be his father thing. I don't remember.
No,
Probably before?
No.
I don't think he ever knew.
Not at that point.
Alright, so it was before. So it was just during that time he was wondering what this man that my mother wanted to see so much, he wants to help us so much about. I want to hear his perspective.
Right.
So he sits down, he's shaking, he's smoking, he's twitching his legs, and he's hearing everything that Thomas Wayne had to say, and how Thomas is literally attacking him, saying that he's a coward for hiding his face when he had on makeup, how he's attacking innocent people when he's been the one getting beat up, and he's just offending these terrible people for making them kill them, and it's to him it's wow, so you really gonna defend these guys for what they did to me? I see how it is, and it's he's shaking, he's you can see the fury in his entire body actually.
Right.
He is ready to burst, but he's just holding it in. And And yeah, it was just a great moment for me. Like it just solidifies just like how perspective works, like what they see and versus what we like what the people who are there see, and you can't really control. Like if there's no witnesses, you can't really control what other people could say because nobody's there to like say what happened. Especially now that Arthur was the one that killed him, he can't really say his side of the story because then he'll automatically go to jail for just killing 3 people. Period.
Yeah.
So just that whole idea of perspective. Honestly, the whole movie with the case study of Arthur and his progressing to becoming the Joker,
character study.
It was just great.
It was.
I do want to like track back to like the last topic, Murray, because I want to get something off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But one of the things were how the guy, he said that you listened to his podcast, how he said that he didn't like how he got nervous when he got on the stage after he meeting his hero. But the thing is, he did meet his hero beforehand, like when he was inside the room. So like he already saw him physically, face to face, and he was brave.
I mean, I know what you mean, but I was more so like when he's finally in stage.
I mean, I guess you could just call it not really not being like afraid, but more of like sort of like, wow, I'm actually here. This is actually happening.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
like
a realization.
Starstruck. Yeah, it's like sort of like, not starstruck, but like living in that moment of like finally being in the spot he's always wanted to be in all his life. That was one thing. Second, the whole like when he like blew up and he like started like going off on everyone and like the society and even Murray, like that moment, oh my god, like I don't want to sound like I'm rooting for like these people. It's just it felt so right because all this time, like throughout the whole movie, Arthur has just been struggling. He's been hurt multiple times. Everything has been like a lie to him up to this point. We'll get there eventually, but like there's been so many lies, so many hurt, and like you want to like for anybody who's been suffering, you always want them to be happy. You always want some kind of happy ending, and for Joker's case, it's not really a happy ending. It's more of a bittersweet ending, So like when he pops off and he shoots his hero in the face in live national TV. Like, yeah, it was a point of real, like, it was just that point of where he's like, huh, okay, that felt great, because, like, after a while, he started to, like, collect himself. He's trying to, like, figure out who he was as a person, and, like, near the end of the film, he realized that, yes, he liked killing people. He liked giving other people pain from what he felt, so, like, popping off on Murray was just, like, another one of his, like, releases,
Uh-huh.
So, like, even, like, one of the scenes when he shoots him and he, like, the blood is on his face, he's like, yeah, this feels right. This feels right. And it's like, I just had to clap for him, because, like, he was a happy boy. He was happy.
Oh my God.
He was happy.
Murdering people.
It's terrible, but just literally, guys, don't mess with people you don't know, because perspective-wise,
Just
you don't know
nice.
what the
Just
fuck
be
they're
nice
up
to
to.
people.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you should.
And with that said, what's up?
Well, I was gonna say about you and how you clap when Bruce Wayne's parents died.
Yep.
I was gonna say, hey man, look, I was with you. Look, in that movie, he was an asshole.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Like Thomas Wayne, I felt like he had what was coming for him too.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, we don't know. That's my theory. Like, we don't know if he was like an asshole.
yeah, because like I said, perspective. We
That's
only see like the
perspective of
bad
the
part of
Joker.
him.
But we don't, because in comics and whatever, he's always been like the most giving, nice person, and that's why Bruce Wayne wants to be like his dad, right?
And he wants to help Gotham.
Yeah.
I believe he genuinely wanted to help Gotham.
Yeah.
But those asshole moments,
Yep. They
make you look like the bad guy.
it does.
That's why when that happened, he was like, "Hey, Bruce Wayne, hey, Tommy Wayne, you deserve this."
Give me your chain. You got Debo.
Oh my Give me those pearls.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Oh man. So I don't want to distract. I mean, not distract, but I don't want to leave her out. Let's talk about Penny. I
Oh,
want to talk about Penny.
the lie.
the crazy and what she's about. Who wants to open the lid on this one? Penny Proud, y'all.
No, she's not my Penny Proud.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I know, right? It's all over the place. I'll say this: the way they kind of set it up to make you think like, oh, this poor lady, she's sick, she's so fragile, she's so caring, she loves Arthur. They're pretty much all they got is each other.
Mm-hmm.
He takes care of her, and she's kind of like his how do you say? Kind of like his anchor that kind of like holds him down, so he doesn't really lose it.
Mm-hmm.
And she writes these letters right throughout the movie to the Waynes, specifically Thomas Wayne, because she used to work for him. I guess she was like a secretary or something.
She was what's her name, a housemaid?
Or
Something like that.
housemaid or something.
Like
Whatever. She worked for the Waynes.
On the resume.
And so she Lamp mentioned earlier, so they were writing these letters because they're financially struggling. I'm guessing they're behind on rent. They're probably gonna get kicked out soon.
Yeah.
Arthur's trying to make ends meet, but doing his little clown gig on the side that he got fired from, right? Because of the events that took place. And she's telling him, "Oh, don't worry, he's a good guy. He's gonna respond. He's gonna take care of us. He has to. And this whole time, Arthur just drops the letters off. Well, Arthur decided, you know what, I'm gonna actually read one of these letters. Like, what is she writing him that's so important that he just has to? Like, why is he obligated to take care of us? What makes you think that Thomas Wayne has the time of day to even consider us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he reads it, and in the letter, she goes into details talking about how, Arthur's your son, and you should take care of him. I know you all didn't really meet each other or know each other that well, but the least you can do is make sure we're okay, since you don't want to claim him or whatever, So when Arthur sees that, right, he blows up, he gets mad, fast forward a little bit, and he's trying to ask his mother questions, like, what do you mean, what is this? And so that's when she tells him that they had an affair, and they slept together, and Arthur's the product of that affair. So now we move forward in the film. He meets little Bruce, and he's like, oh, this is my little brother, because technically I'm your big brother. Thomas Wayne is my daddy. Right?
And before that happened, he looked at me, he's like, they're brothers? I'm like, hey, I don't know. I was like, that's a good take on the movie, I guess.
I was like, okay, I guess. To me, I mean, just to throw this out there, like, I was never one of those people that kind of wanted the Joker and Batman to have some sort of, like, family relationship, because I don't care for that. To me, that's like a cheap write-off.
Yeah, that's pretty cheap.
So when I saw that kind of took me back a little bit. I was like, oh, don't make him his brother. Like, really? We're doing this? But I was so invested in the film, I didn't want to let that ruin it for me. So I was like, whatever, we're here. Let's just roll with it. And so I was taken back a little bit. And then again, as we keep moving through, so then now we're up at the point where there's this event going on at one of the... I don't know what it was, like a town hall or something.
I think it wasn't a theater.
It was a theater.
A theater.
Yeah.
You're right. There was an event going on at a theater, and everybody knew Thomas Wayne would be there. So there was protesters outside to protest against Thomas Wayne.
And they were playing Chaplin.
And they were watching your boy
Charlie
Chaplin. And so Joker comes in, or Arthur comes in, because he's Arthur still. And he kind of sees it, and he likes the theater, and he likes the way Charlie Chaplin was dancing, and has everybody's attention. So he kind of drifts off for a moment. He gets captivated by that, and then he notices the Waynes up in the balcony seats. Right, Thomas steps out to go use the restroom, and that's when he's like, "All right, here's my opportunity. Now I can go talk to him, confess everything.
Let's go see Daddy."
Right, Pops, I understand you ain't take care of me, but now's the time. You can make up for lost time. Here it is. Help us out. Let's squash all this.
Motherfucker, I don't know
Let's
you.
make amends. Right? So he's in, and it's the most awkward of places.
Bro.
So he's in there taking a piss. This grown man come in there changing clothes, and he just kind of looking at him. And Thomas Wayne is like, "What? You want an autograph or something? You want to shake my hand? Like, what? Can you get the hell out of my way so I can go back to my seat, please? Thank you." And he's like, "Oh, you may not know me or remember me or know who I am, but I'm Penny Fleck's son. I'm your son. You're my dad." Pretty much, it's like the bomb. He kind of lays on him, and Thomas Wayne just kind of looks at him. Like, are you kidding me? You really believe that BS your mama told you about me being your father? Like, come on, think about it. He's like, we don't even look alike. And he's kind of like, oh, yeah, we do. I kind of see your resemblance. You know, you kind of force yourself to believe it. Like, I see, like, the eyebrows are the same or something. I don't know. He was just trying to make any excuse to be like, oh, me, Dad, it's me. Me, Dad. Please accept me, Father. And Thomas was like, no, look, I'm sorry, but your mother's crazy. She doesn't know what you're talking about. Like, she made it all up,
and she adopted you.
He made
He's like, you're not even her son, right? And that was it. And then he reverse bombed it. He's like, you're not even her son. She adopted you. He's like, what? He just flipped his world upside down. Like, what do you mean? Why are you saying such terrible things? I just came here to see you and let you know that I'm your son. I don't get a hug or nothing or hey son or you just say these evil and nasty things to me. I don't understand what's going on. Like, why is everybody such terrible people?
Yeah.
Like, that was like, he just couldn't comprehend it. Like, why are people just so awful? Like, can't somebody just be nice for once? And Thomas Wayne was like, look, you need to get the hell out of my way. And he ended up punches him.
Yep. Like,
he just cold cocks him. Pow! Like, I ain't got time for this. Get the fuck out of my way.
He's like, he cold cocks him like, don't ever touch my son.
Right.
I'll kill you.
Yeah, because he was like, you're the guy that came to my house the other day, aren't you? And just pow, just sticks him one time.
Early Batman punch, boy.
Yeah, he gave him one. Get used to it, because you about to feel a lot of these punches for a long time, Joker. Just FYI.
That was the first one.
That was the first official punch he got. And they just speed it up a little bit, so then he goes back, and now Arthur's like super confused. He's like, what the hell is going on? Now he's telling me one thing. I think he's lying because I believe my mother, right? She's my mom. Why would she lie to me about you being my father? Like, I don't know who my real dad is. Like, what are you talking about? And then that's when he starts to dig a little deeper, because when Thomas was telling him she's crazy, she got an insane asylum, she lied, you're adopted, like, don't believe what she's telling you. The woman suffers from, like, delusion of grandeur, pretty much, is what that is. Like, she puts on this crazy, elaborate life, and she's obsessed with Thomas Wayne, and none of it is true. And so he's like, all right, and I'm going to do my own digging. And then that's when he goes to Arkham Asylum, and he meets Paperboy.
Paperboy. All about my Paperboy.
When he came out, I was like, yo, Jacob.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, snap, he had another movie? My boy doing it big. Doing it big.
And Miles Morales' dad.
Yeah. So when he tells him, he's like, I need some paperwork on such and such. He gives him the name of his mother, and he's like, all right, let me see what I got. And he pulls the files, and then when Arthur pretty much does this indirect confession of how he killed the people on the train, he's like, I messed up. I did some really bad things. And he's like, what? And he's kind of taken back, but he's like, on second thought, I'm gonna keep this paperwork. I don't think I want to give this to you. You kind of weird. Yeah. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get you admitted right now.
And he grabs it.
Yeah, and then they struggle. He takes it, runs off. Arthur heads out, runs down the stairwell, takes a moment to open it, and then that's when he starts reading the paperwork, and he realizes that his mom was admitted in there, and she pretty much just fabricated the whole story about her and Thomas Wayne having an affair together, and he was indeed adopted, and it just kind of just builds from there, and it's crazy. And then he finds out more that
his dad abused him.
Yeah, well, her boyfriend.
Her boyfriend.
It wasn't even his dad; it was her boyfriend.
Yeah, she just sat there.
Like he was
right.
Happy.
She just kind of let him get beaten.
And where he suffers like
with the laughter, the PBA.
Yeah, like he like
is a result of that abuse.
of the abuse that he got.
Right.
Because he suffered like head trauma.
Yeah, he suffered a lot
trauma.
of multiple head trauma, and I think in the file it said they found him chained up to like a water heater or something, or a heater,
a water heater,
something like that. And yeah, so pretty much they had to take him away for neglect and lock her up for a little bit, and then eventually they rejoined each other. So now Arthur's like, oh, so she the one that's lying. She lied to me. She's crazy. I was abused as a kid. Now I have this condition where I can't stop laughing. And this entire time, I'm thinking she was looking out for my best interest.
Yeah, but
it was really all her fault.
It was really all her fault from the beginning, and I'm taking care of her now because she's all frail and sick. And yeah, what do you want to add? Like,
all right, so before we continue on with that, let's go back a little bit more to when after he went and had his encounter with Bruce Wayne, and then he goes home to where his mother was sent to the hospital.
Yeah, those two detectives.
And those two detectives, yeah.
Right.
So
okay.
Yeah.
His mother, I forgot what happened to his mom. Yeah, she
like suffered
like heart. Something happened to her heart because those two detectives were asking her questions.
Yeah, I guess it like overwhelmed her.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah. It kind of shook. She's like, "What's happening? What's going on? What did Arthur do?"
That was after like the big fight about him finding out that was.
Yeah, but that was after when he was coming back from Bruce Wayne. So,
right.
And then after she was admitted to the hospital, the two detectives they kept constantly trying to get him. And the two detectives that's when they start playing their part in the movie. They just want to figure out Arthur's alibi and what he's been up to, because they feel as if he was the one behind the murder of the three interns. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to get on his kid, but he's been stiff arming, avoiding them as much as possible. So now you know that his mom is in the hospital,
right?
And from there, after
now,
learning that he's adopted and his mom was the reason for his trauma, he goes back to the hospital to pay a little penny a visit.
I'm free, bitch.
Right after him and his boo Sophie sat there by the bedside and watched his poor mother in the hospital, because she was there with him from the beginning, thick and thin. She stuck with him. And then when Arthur realized that it was all just lies and lies upon lies, and he was up in there, pretty much she made him look like a fool in front of Thomas Wayne, telling him, "You're my dad," and then she's like, "No, I'm not. Your mother's crazy. You need to go talk to that." So when he gets back to the hospital, he's like,
he didn't give zero fuck. He was smoking.
This is it. And he just grabs the pillow and he's like, "Well, like a sick dog, I'm just gonna put you out your misery." It's pretty much what happened. And he just kind of took his mother out of the equation.
He didn't even call her mom. He called her Penny.
Yep.
No, he was like, "You don't need this pillow no more. I'll let the pillow rest on your face."
But when that happened, man, he was free.
Yeah, he was.
That was it. Because again, she was his anchor. And now that she's gone, that was it. He was no tethers. So now he's free to...
Very seldom.
Yep, now he's free to do whatever he wants. He ain't taking medication no more.
Yeah,
the government shut down the facility that was prescribing the free Medicare or whatever medical aid he was getting for his prescription. So now that was a non-existent. So there it is. He can do what he wants. He can do whatever he feels and thinks.
And then he was in Sophie's apartment.
Right, yeah. So after after all is said and done, he runs back to the building, and he just kind of soaks a little bit, because he's kind of realizing what just happened. And Sophie comes out and looks at him like, "Who are you?"
No, she's like, "Oh my God, you're Arthur, right?" From
right, because when he turns around, she realizes, she's like, "Oh wait, you're Arthur. You're staying a couple
scared
doors down. You're in the wrong apartment. You shouldn't be in here. You need to get out."
Yeah. What? I thought you guys were dating.
Right? I thought y'all a couple. Why you acting weird now?
Little flashback of him just by himself.
Come to find out, he was never with her. He just imagined the whole thing. That was his Fight Club moment.
Wow.
It was fake. It was all in his head. He never had a relationship with Sophie. She didn't show up to any of his comedy shows. She wasn't in the hospital with him side by side. He didn't run into the apartment and kiss her and have sex with her. None of that.
Nope.
That was all in his head.
Fantasy.
But you know what? I will say this: what made me have my doubt was the kiss and sex scene.
Yeah,
When he kissed her, I was like, this don't feel right.
no.
Yeah.
Like
This
already?
feels- yeah, I was gonna say this is a little rushed. And then there was a cut. I don't know if it was right after that scene or the following one, where he was in his room alone, like looking at his little nudie mags, touching himself. I'm like, is he beating his meat? What the hell? And then I'm
got
like,
the phone.
right. And then he got the phone. I'm like, wait a minute. If he has the girl, why the hell is he in here playing with himself? Because his hand was in his underwear. It was like real quick. I don't know. To me, that just kind of stuck out. And then that's when I had my doubts. That little shot, I was like, all right, I don't think he's really with this girl.
But not
Something's
just
up.
that, my doubt was also when they were walking and saw the newspaper, and she was like, "Yeah, they should all die." I'm like, "What the hell?"
Oh yeah, she was kind of just
Like
yeah,
egging him
I-
on about like you did right or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, so like a boost, like when the clown, the whole clown news, like
Right.
a news killer clown in the streets. She goes to the newspaper and she's like, oh, and the whole killer clown thing. He's like a real hero. It's like sort of boosting up his ego.
right.
Like him
Serves
telling
them right.
himself.
They
Yeah.
got what they deserve.
Yeah.
He's,
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
huh?
he's like, yeah, you're right. They did.
I was like, that's a weird couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, that. I mean, I caught on, like when he went out and kissed him.
Uh-huh.
First of all, that was way too fast. She was way too cute for him. Period.
Don't give a boy some slack.
Come on.
First of all, it's Arthur. Come on, man.
Everybody, there's somebody out there for everybody. You never know.
Nah, for him.
Maybe that's what she was feeling.
A little creepy. She wanted somebody creepy.
A little creepy, skinny
She
guy.
She more wanted a sugar daddy than if anything.
Well, he wasn't no sugar daddy.
My
He got
boy,
no-
exactly.
His ass was sleeping in the refrigerator.
Well, he was sleeping in the refrigerator to laugh. So he doesn't annoy the neighbors.
Right. Took all the shit out so he could stay inside.
Bruh.
Oh, that was crazy. I just, I hate when I feel something is wrong, but I still let it get me by surprise. It's like, damn, movies.
I was gonna tell you, I was
Don't do that to me,
gonna
man.
be mad if they're gonna have this whole romantic subplot, because I was like, there was
Right,
no
that
way,
too.
there was no way he could have a romantic.
Right,
Subplot.
exactly.
And in that whole movie, when I was seeing, I was like, nah, this cannot be real.
Well, you
like,
see,
come on.
I guess with
Yeah, but I didn't think like it was not
No,
gonna be real. I
I
thought
know.
like
Again,
Well,
you were
it's
kind of
no
like,
way.
they're putting this in here?
but
Lame.
you see,
Lame.
with that said, it feels more for like the fans itself because they know what's not supposed to happen. So it's sort of like a clue to like catch on of what's real and what's not.
Right.
So it's like Blue's Clues. Oh, Arthur got a girlfriend. Is she real or not?
I don't know. I think
Bruce Wayne and Joker are brothers. So are they? Is it real or not? It's like a clue game.
I don't know
Yeah.
because, and that when we went to the theater and watched this,
Mm-hmm.
everybody was dead quiet.
So it was because
Everybody was dead.
it was
quiet.
just that this movie was so, I don't know, the tone that was set, like nothing was really funny about the film.
No.
I think I only laughed like one time, and that was when he made the little short person joke.
No.
When what was his name? Got Randall,
Yeah.
the big guy, when they went to his apartment.
Yeah.
And he was like, it could have been anybody. It could have been any clown. Could have been me. And he was like, well, if they said it was a little short guy running around killing people, then we would suspect you. And I was like, ha. That was like the only time I laughed.
No, that was.
the hot before the
Actually, I think we laughed more in that movie. Us.
Yeah, we laughed a
Because
lot.
like towards the end,
Uh-huh.
It was just funny.
we found it hilarious towards the end.
Uh-huh.
Like the
Oh, how
short,
everybody
the short
was getting-
dude.
okay.
What is that part? The part before he goes on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
There is. I
Even the
forgot.
subway part, right?
Yeah, the subway
The
part
cops were chasing him.
where he's chasing him,
Uh-huh.
and they're getting beaten to death by crowds of people, but like the whole way in,
Yeah.
it was hilarious.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
They was getting stopped like boom, boom, boom. I was like, yo.
Yeah, we were laughing at. It's kind of funny, but it was like we were laughing at the part where Arthur found his resolve to become the Joker,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
and so now all his like evil deeds he's doing are now hilarious to us, like how the Joker would be.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we started laughing at his jokes.
Like, another thing that I found really funny was the memes, because when he was the Joker dancing in the stairs, after just dancing in the stairs, I was just thinking about the memes instantly about the Miami music. B. Oh, the Laffy Taffy. I was just dying. I was like,
Fucking dancing on the steps.
That dance was, I don't know, it was great.
yeah.
It wasn't cheesy.
No, it wasn't.
Because
It was very-
the thing about
It was wholesome. Yeah, it's free.
yeah, the thing about those memes and stuff, when I saw that, that's like, oh man, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
If that's he danced in the movie, then when you see the context of the dance, it's like, oh no, it's actually a good part of the movie.
It is.
It says freedom dance.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
freedom
It
dance.
was. It was a
I
real.
could do whatever I want.
Yeah, pretty much. That was his little Charlie Chaplin moment.
Yeah.
He was just dancing and being free.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a very that movie was just heavy. It's a very heavy film,
was,
man. Like I felt it just watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt it, and for me, like I don't think I had any complaints about the movie because the way it like wrapped up and ended, it kind of justified all the actions that took place.
Yeah.
I will say there was one scene that stuck out to me that I liked a lot. Well, before I get into that, let me just say the score for the movie is like
What?
phenomenal, top notch.
Amazing.
Even the
phenomenal.
licensed music was a good choice.
Oh my goodness, it was it was great, man. It was a great choice of music and sound and everything. And I saw, I don't know which theater you guys went to see it, but I saw it in IMAX. So like everything was just like super amplified even more. And, oh my goodness, man! Like, I was sitting there and the music was just like whoa. I was like, oh my god.
No, we were sitting at the normal theater
It was just super intense.
in the normal seats at the same theater that you went.
At the same theater.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
we went to what was it, Theater 9, sitting close up because all the
All the seats were taken.
all the seats were taken, and we were sitting right next up.
Head tilted back, staring.
But
at
it
the
didn't
screen.
matter because it was a good ride that our necks didn't matter.
Yeah, but that score, I can't think of the lady's name that did the score of the film, but she also worked on Sicario. She did both of the Sicario films, and then she also did Chernobyl. She worked on, she won an award for Chernobyl.
I actually watched that show.
You watched Chernobyl? Yeah,
Oh,
Chernobyl's intense too. If you guys ever get a chance, you should watch Chernobyl.
Yeah.
But she worked on that. So and then she did the score for Joker. And I was like, oh, okay. Now that I know what she did for the other movies, and now seeing the Joker, I was like, yeah, it makes sense why they picked her. Because she's really good at just setting that tone, so you kind of feel it, and you go through the emotional ride with the character. And yeah, the score is everything, man. So great job for them picking that. But what I was going to say was that the scene that stuck out to me that I really liked was when Arthur was riding the bus, and he was playing with the little kid that was in front of him.
Yeah.
And the little kid was just kind of staring at him, and he was kind of looking out the window, whatever. And he kind of looked at his kid, and then he started making faces, and the kid was like reacting and smiling. And like for that moment, I was like, look at that, like this is great. This is like what people should be doing.
Yeah.
Just like making people smile. That's what it's about, right? Being happy.
Yeah.
And then the mom turned around and was like, would you leave my kid alone? He was like, I was just making her laugh. Like, I'm sorry. I made your kid happy. Stop bothering her. She ain't mess with you. He's like, what the fuck? I was just... And then he started laughing because he was put in that situation that just made him feel uncomfortable. And that's usually when the PBA kicks in. And he just couldn't control his laughter. And then she was like, oh, you think this funny? Why are you laughing? And then when he showed her the car, she just kind of looked at it like, great, I got to sit in front of the weird guy on the bus. Now I got to listen to his ass laugh for the rest of the ride. And I was like, that right there, that just sums up society. Like right there. That little shot just sums up the way people act and behave. Yep. Just in that little moment. You try to do something nice and good with people, and people are like, what's wrong with you? You're weird. Stop it.
Stop being nice. Stop trying to make our lives better.
Right, yeah. Just cut it out. Just be miserable like the rest of us.
Yep.
He's like, I'm just only trying to make your kid laugh.
Yeah.
The kid was staring at me, and I was like, oh, little kid, smile.
It kind of reminds me of when you're at a job, right? And the older, like the older people there, They don't want you to be happy. They're like, man, you going to school? They're like, bro, like, you should stay here, like, you should stay here in this job with me for 20 years, man. Like, I don't want you to see you. I don't want to see you doing better for yourself. You should stay here with me, man.
What type of job you working?
No, it was something unrelated, something quick. Publix.
Oh, you know, bashing.
No.
No sponsorship from them. There's another one we lost, y'all.
Okay.
I think he's becoming a Joker because of Publix.
No. Publix in my current job, managers were like, hey man, what do you think about doing? Oh, I want to be an animator. I want to be in school. You don't want to stay here with us?
No. You want to know the truth? You want to lie? How do you want this to go? We can take this 2 ways. I can say yes or no.
He was like, I've been here for like 10 years, bro. Like, hey man, you want to stay here? Like, be here? Whether you want to be a manager? I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. You better stay here, bro.
What?
You better stay. They're gonna force you to stay at the grocery store. Oh my gosh.
Try to chase you down for real, son.
You gotta start running like Joker.
Oh my goodness.
Boy.
Anyways, but yeah, that movie was great. That was like the best form of like anti-bully.
Oh yeah.
That you could show somebody. Like, just leave people alone. Stop fucking with people, please.
And we had a little kid in our theater watching it.
Oh really?
Yeah. And that kid was running around, hovering on us, and we hear it going like, "Oh, is that the Joker? What's that?" And but like after like that scene at the bus, not the train.
Oh, and he shot the people. Yeah.
They're quiet.
The kid wasn't talking no more.
After the movie ended, we got up. I took a look to see who's that kid at. That kid was sitting like this.
Like, what did I just watch?
What did I just watch?
That ain't the Joker. Where was Batman the whole time? Boy. This ain't that type of movie.
And then, like, when I got up, I saw a bunch of kids behind me, and they were just...
Bro, I'm telling you, that's how everybody was. Everybody was just super, like, stone-faced. Like, wow. Like, they were just in it. They were just invested in it.
And I think it helped because since it's Joker is like it's a comic book character, a lot of people are expecting like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
The mass majority.
Right.
So it kind of tricks them to come in here like to watch a movie they
PSA.
probably never watched. No.
Right. Real quick PSA.
To watch a character study movie they would probably never watch because usually when they show them on like a trailer or something, they're boring.
Right.
Like, oh man, we don't want to watch somebody's problems or whatever.
Right, exactly.
But when you put the Joker, be like, hey, it's the Joker, you know, he's from Batman.
Exactly.
And we're like, okay, cool, let's go watch it.
Boom. There's your bomb.
Yep.
Mom's a liar.
Yep. And they put just enough like comic book reference stuff to keep it, a little tied in.
Yeah.
But the movie as a whole was just all about Arthur and his transition from Arthur Fleck to the Joker. Even when he was in the dressing room waiting for them to call him out to be on the talk show, he was like, "Can you call me Joker?" And he's like, "Call you Joker? What do you want?" He's like, "Yeah, you called me Joker when you were on TV showing my video."
Yeah, call me. Yeah.
He's like, "Call me Joker when you introduce me. I want to be known as Joker."
All right.
He was like, "Hey kid, whatever you like, I got you." And that's how he introduced him Joker, and that was it. It just stuck with him.
I want to say this. Great portrayal is Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Big rats.
Big rats in the city.
Can we talk about them goddamn rats, bro?
Them
They
mutant
scared the
rats
shit out of me, man.
that were running in every other scene.
Like-
You see these rats in the background.
When they said super rats, I thought it was like a joke.
Nah,
I legit thought it was like some kind of
First of all,
joke.
They're
That's
dogs,
not big ass.
bro.
I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Gotham is like a fictional, like New York-esque type
From the
location.
70s, 80s.
Yeah, and let me tell you, like the rats in New York legit look like that. I've seen them in subways. The rats are big enough that when they crawl up onto the steps, people get out the way. They be like, come a rat. And, them bitches be- and they just run right through the crowds too, bro. And people just like step to the side and let the rats pass. That's how big the rats are in New York. I've seen them. I've seen them walk across the tracks.
Oh, they separate the seas, man? They
So-
Moses?
Yes, they split the sea.
But they
rats
pay,
are no joke in New York.
they pay their own fare.
Nah, who's gonna charge them?
They got the unlimited bus.
Think it's a game. I'm pretty sure the rats outnumber the people. So let them merge from under the sewers if you want to.
Before like turtles with them.
A whole army of them, son. No joke. Yeah, no, the mutant rats were like on another level in that movie. Another level.
And it's great that they set the tone, the period.
Yeah.
What was it? He said it was like he said 80s, but that looks.
I
like
look more
70s
to me.
Yeah.
Maybe late 70s.
Late 70s,
early
80s.
I'd say late 70s because some of the vehicles I noticed, the way people dress.
And there's color TV.
There was color TVs in the theaters. Like, because that was around the era when they were actually showing, like, pornographic films in movie theaters.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but some of the, like, background shots of, like, the theaters had, like, porn titles on them.
Yeah, like...
I noticed.
And I noticed that. I was like, okay, this is, like, the late 70s kind of as, like, early 80s. Yeah. Somewhere around that time when porn was starting to boom and they were actually showing it, like, a real film. So that also kind of sets that time frame, too. But yeah, definitely the cars and the way people dressed and talked and act, yeah. And then again, it's supposed to be Batman's parents, so this is when Batman's a little kid. So yeah, I would say definitely late 70s. Yeah, I would definitely say late 70s. It's Batman.
Captivating, just like in the freaking title.
Yep, this is definitely one of those movies that'll stick out and stand the test of time.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those movies like, you never see Joker? Oh, you gotta see Joker. Just like any other crazy film, like Fight Club, or what's another movie that kind of sticks out? Reservoir Dogs, like almost any Quentin Tarantino movie. Apocalypse Now, Green Mile. It's just one of those movies that come out and you're like, wow. Like it just does something to you. Mm-hmm. And you like spread the word like wildfire, like you gotta see Joker. I can't describe it, you have to see it.
Yeah.
Like you can sit here and talk about the way the film looked and the feel and how nice it was, the story, but until you're in the seat watching it, like
it really is an experience. Like we could tell you the whole spoiler, but it won't mean nothing until you.
It doesn't. It means nothing if you don't see it. You have to sit there and experience it and watch the movie and give it like 110% of your focus, so you can just dive right in it and get lost, so you can feel what Arthur's feeling.
No distractions.
No distractions. Like you have to give it your all.
Yep. I could safely say The Godfather is like the best DC film I've ever seen.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't take. Yeah.
I think it's it's like if you take to account the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right. Movies that have that type of tone, it works really good. Not saying they can't do the super comic booky type, because Aquaman was okay.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was solid. I like Wonder Woman.
Same here.
But these movies really fit because that's like the essence of DC.
Yeah.
Those super dreary, dark, heavy type stories.
Which is funny films, because
it always works best. And when they always turn to that sort of theme, you always see that's when they really shine. Mm-hmm. Just like with the Dark Knight trilogy, like, oh man, this is the greatest Batman movie ever. Mm-hmm. All three of them were amazing. And then this one comes out, and you're like, oh, this is amazing. The Joker movie is awesome.
Oh, I don't know about all three of them. Third one kind of.
I like the third one. I don't care what you say. Bane was my favorite. Well, that part, but still, Bane was. I like Bane.
But one more thing, to go to your point, it's funny because DC characters were always uplifting. They were never called dark until later on when the Dark Knight, comic came out.
Right.
That's where the whole making characters darker and things like that. And plus, this DC doesn't have really nothing else, Birds of Prey? Come on, get out of here.
Birds of Prey. Oh, yeah, the Harley Quinn movie.
The Harley Quinn movie.
That's coming out. Hey.
Yeah,
I broke up with Joker. We're not together anymore. Okay,
bitch.
All right. Hey, as long as I ain't got to look at that version of the Joker, I'm all for it. I'm glad you broke up with him. Good job.
Right? We got a good one right there.
Did you read that he was a little upset with the?
Jared
Of course, Jared Leto was upset with the.
Of course, he was
Joker
upset.
Because I get it from a business point.
He was
I understand it.
He was promised a solo movie.
Yeah, he was.
But he was promised a solo movie, but when but when after Suicide Squad was
Right.
flopping, right? They were filming Joaquin Phoenix doing
Yeah.
Joker.
They were like, yeah, we can already see this is about to die. So you can do your independent Joker movie because this is a standalone film. They're not like doing a sequel or anything. This is just like a one shot.
and
then it just so happened James Gunn was in that whole thing with Disney, and then they grabbed him for a little bit and be like, all right, let's have you do a Suicide Squad movie. So then now he's doing that for them. So he's revamping it because they're not doing anything to tie in with the other Suicide Squad movie. This is going to be a whole new set of characters, whole new storyline. They're just taking it in another direction. So we'll see how that ends.
We'll see, because like that's the state of DC, is that nothing's working because we already have a bunch of theories of what they could do, but clearly nothing is working. So now they're just making movies.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't want to make this Joker,
Right.
because they were scared, but they did it, and
It turned out really
turned out
well.
great.
Movie we made a lot opening weekend.
Now we could sit here and talk for hours because we could,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
we
did.
could. I could talk about Jokers like all night.
Same here, bro.
but we also have other topics.
We do have other topics. Oh my god, we talked about this for a long time. Good lord,
Wait, did you
that's
have
how
something to
intense
say?
this movie.
You have something to say though.
Oh, I was gonna say, adding on to the DC Dark thing is just they kind of go overboard with the shows, like the Titans.
Oh,
you
we'll
mean
save
those
that for
shows?
another.
Okay, that's a
time.
good. That is like we got more. We just spent another hour.
Well, no, I'm not gonna say it because now I'm just opening up a can of worms. If I start talking about Titans now,
Oh, you bet you would.
but there were some tweaks made, and I'm like, okay, all right,
For season 2, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
So you bit?
I was like, all right, I see where this is going. Now we have focus. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, because season 1 was all over the goddamn place. I was like, what the fuck am I watching right now? This shit don't make no sense.
All right, let's have 1% of your focus.
And then now it's like, all right, we actually picked a storyline to follow. So we'll see where they take it. So I'm not terribly disappointed.
So
in season
Deathstroke is cool.
No, he's great. Deathstroke is cool.
Okay.
Deathstroke's actually pretty dope in this one.
He is.
All right.
He is.
All right. Cool.
He is. Deathstroke. Whoever that guy, I don't know who he is, the actor they picked for him.
I've seen him everywhere, but
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah, whoever he is, he was a good choice for Deathstroke. I actually like him as Deathstroke.
Wasn't he in Ozarks? Ozarks?
He was the Mexican cartel guy,
Yeah.
right? Yes, he was in Ozark. He's the cartel guy from Ozark.
Yeah.
So yes, but he works though. But I'm telling you, like I like Deathstroke.
Okay.
Yeah, he
All right.
fits.
So all in all, we all like Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt.
No doubt.
Would you say it's a perfect film? And critically,
Definitely.
Critically, yes.
But
It covers all bases to me. It has good score, has good story, has good character development. It pulls you in. Any movie that invokes feeling, whether you feel uncomfortable or you can relate with the character or whatever the case may be, to me, then they like hit the target. That's what they were going for. They wanted to invoke feeling, and I think they succeeded. So I give it. Yep, I give it to them. Good film.
Yeah, with that, I give that. Gotta hold back a bit. I don't know, because it's so recent how it is, and everybody has their wild topics. I feel like once it dies down and you watch the movie again without the noise, I think that's where it to me will feel like an apex of everything.
Okay.
I mean, I personally feel like it's gonna hold up still. Like,
No, it's
no
gonna
matter
hold
how
up.
you look at it. Like this, like it's not really like it's not really dated to like today. It's just like a backstory and all that stuff, but
No, that movie's not gonna be dated.
not at all.
No.
So like I think no matter what time period you watch it in, it's gonna hold up because it's at the end of the day it's sort of like a documentary, sort of, just on like a fictional
Like
character.
a biopic.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
This is the story of Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, not be canon, but it's still one hell of a watch. Watch it, please. Give it your attention, your love, and feel for Arthur, y'all.
Feel for
And
Arthur.
Joaquin Phoenix don't win an Oscar for this.
That's not, he better win something for this movie.
Yeah, he does.
He better win something.
Well, the
Yeah,
movie
we're
coming
assuming.
out that could go against this one. That Soldier movie.
For real.
All
right. Let's pick it up. We spent a lot of time on Joker. Good lord.
All right. So our other thing we've been watching, Primal.
Is that the theme song?
I don't know.
You started singing Primal.
Yeah, so.
It's like, what is it?
You're singing the song with Primal.
Yes. So Primal is animation on Adult Swim. Created by
Genndy.
How do you say his last name?
Can you say it? Can you say
Tartakovsky. The guy that made Samurai Jack.
Yep.
Him.
And Dexter's Laboratory.
And Dexter's Laboratory.
And Symbiotic Type.
And Mighty Mouse. Well, he was one of the animators for Mighty Mouse.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, you can see the animation style in those prominent ones that he worked on.
Yep.
First take on Primal, I was definitely pleased. That series should, just like Samurai Jack, that series should definitely get some sort of award.
For real though.
Because any animated show that you can put on, and there's no dialogue whatsoever,
Son.
and it still pulls you in.
Son.
Because one of the key elements that I think a lot of people forget when it comes to animation is that you have to like create the emotion for like emotionless creatures, because you're drawing this by hand, you're creating it. So you got to make people kind of like relate to it when they're looking at it, whether it's the eyes, the body posture, the way they interact with one another, because they're just 2D objects. So the fact that he can portray all of that with no dialogue, and you know when he's happy, you know when he's sad, you know when he's frustrated, and he's a caveman,
So he can't.
so that's right. So he can't speak, so he can't really express himself, not vocally at least, besides screaming and yelling and grunting. But you know what he's going through just based off his actions.
Oh man.
No, he definitely does a great job. He captures it very, very well.
This series pretty much is the embodiment of everything we learn in school. It's pretty much all the 12 steps.
Yeah, it is all the 12
He uses
steps
all the
of animation.
principles.
He uses all the principles of animation.
But in the way that, like you said earlier, no dialogue. And it showcased everything that all it has to offer with feeling and everything, without saying a single word. I mean, there's grunts, but you know, with moving on the eyes, zooming on characters' eyes, their expressions. Yeah, no, this show is a whole nother level than many other shows should inspire to be.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
For me, it looks like the best, it looks like the better looking adult cartoon that I've seen so far. Like in Adult Swim. Like, trust me, there's some.
Rick and Morty?
No. Like, in terms of like,
oh, you mean like aesthetics?
Aesthetics, yeah. Like,
yeah.
There's some that like look like doo doo, bro. Like, I'm telling you.
Well, I mean, that's sort of like the art form of like, that's a whole nother discussion, but like that, like adult cartoons and children cartoons, and like when they make adult cartoons, they make things, characters look uglier and disgusting.
Right. Like usually with adult cartoons, it's more of the context, not really the design and the animation.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a show like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like yes, they're not really that detailed. Some of them are pretty stiff and they just kind of bounce and float across the screen.
No,
it's
a
not
dope
heavy.
show.
Right, but you like it because it's funny, it's clever, you like the jokes, you like the humor.
It's the writing.
You like the quips, you like the writing. And so that's what sells you on it. Or like, what's the other one? Squidbillies. Like Squidbillies is another one that's not really animated that well. The drawings are weird and
Actually, this new season's pretty good.
But then, like, some of the jokes are funny, or some of the context.
Yeah, some of the situations of the characters are hilarious.
Why are you looking at me like? First of all, Squidbillies been around for a while.
Yeah.
So you ain't got to like it, but enough people like it.
I like it.
I like Squidbillies. I like Squidbillies.
High five.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
And their attention to detail with the hat. And his hat always changes each episode. He got a different hat on.
That referenced anything from political views to sexual orientation.
Right.
Hey,
It's
Alright,
clever show.
What's your Adult Swim?
But anyway.
What's your cheesy Adult Swim show that you like?
Super Jail.
Super Joe.
Okay, now Super Jail's an exception because Super Jail is very detailed and the animation is nice.
Yeah.
Like they take their time.
Mm-hmm.
Super Jail had how many seasons? 3?
4.
Let's
4?
take a look.
4 or 5. It's for a while.
Okay.
No.
And what else did they work on? Because that style and that animation is very familiar.
It reminded me of Mighty Bee on Nickelodeon, but I don't know if
Mighty
they worked
Bee?
on that. Yeah.
I don't think he worked on it.
No, but
It looks
Super Jail,
similar, though.
they worked on something else that I've seen.
Oh, you're talking about Super Jail?
Yeah.
Oh, you probably seen the music video for Big Grams.
Yeah, they did the music video for Big Rams. They did that.
Oh, 4 seasons.
Yeah.
4 seasons. Okay.
Yeah.
So Super Jail's an exception because they had like a subplot on top of the main plot, and there was and then they have little things going on in the background.
Yeah.
And stuff you gotta kind of like pay attention to, or you miss it. Yeah. So I give you that one.
Mine is Harvey Birdman.
Harvey Birdman, attorney at law. That's a
it's,
good one.
it's funny. It's funny.
Harvey Birdman's funny. I love it. They bring back all the Hanna-Barbera cartoon characters, and they go to court and stuff.
I showed them the Scooby-Doo episode, and when they were going to jail.
Oh yeah, because they were smoking pot.
And they see, what is it, George Jetson, and he's in jail. It's like, I'll be out very soon.
That was one of my favorite episodes. That one, and when not Men Talk, the Mind guy, the other one. What's the little short guy, the little green one with the ray gun that shrinks everything?
Oh yeah.
Because he likes to make everything
I'll
small.
shrink you.
And then he meets the big black lady with the big booty.
I don't know.
Oh man,
And
I
like
didn't show them. I didn't
he
show
can't.
them.
He's like, because he likes little stuff because he always uses his shrink gun. I know we're way off topic right now, but when he meets her, like he can't do it. He doesn't want to shrink her booty. He wants her to stay big. And then like they get into like this romantic relationship, and he's like, "Don't touch me, don't touch me," and she's like making love to him and stuff. He's like, "Oh baby, you make love to me. This is your first time." He's like, "Don't touch me." But that's like my favorite episode. It is so funny.
I showed them.
I have to show y'all that episode.
I showed them the what's it called? The Flintstones one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The Sopranos.
Yeah, kind of like
The
they're like the
Sopranos.
mafia,
The Sopranos
Yeah.
Flintstones. That was good.
and they play the theme song and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woke this morning.
You're dead to me, can't open it. You're dead.
But anyways, back to Primal
Yeah.
since we went on this Adult Swim rant.
Yeah, but Primal to me is one of those shows that kind of stands out. It captures you in a way where it can get really brutal, but you're captivated by that brutal.
Mesmerized.
Yeah, whatever. You're captivated by that sense of violence. It doesn't bother you in a way. It just fits in those times because people had to survive.
Yeah, survival of the fittest. That theme of you gotta survive or you die.
Mm-hmm.
It echoes like when you first see it. We were talking about first episode. When you first see it, that he's hunting, gathering fish, and then he goes home and he sees his family just getting brutally killed.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, so it's this type of show,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah,
And then he meets his unlikely friend,
Mm-hmm.
a dinosaur,
Right, another dinosaur.
who has kids of her own,
and
and they get killed.
Yeah. But the feels alone, oh boy, it gets crazy real later on. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna get really savage. Episode 5, when you guys catch up, probably after this or on your own, it's just gonna be like, it's gonna be amazing. You're gonna be like, so this how it ends. I want more.
For real.
Genndy, stop playing, bro. Get in the studio. I don't care. I know you wanted to rest. I know you wanted to rest after all of this stuff. After working on Hotel Transylvania 3 and all these other things. But, bro, you need to get back in the studio.
Make more of this stuff.
Make more of this. I'm going to feed you a banana. But keep going.
You do a banana.
I feel like,
Whoa,
man,
wow.
I I just feel like they should bring all these old creators from Cartoon Network and just go work in Adult Swim.
For real, man.
If we're getting this from
him.
him, can you imagine if we get what's his name who created Foster's and
was it Craig McCracken?
Yeah, Craig McCracken. If we bring him back, because I know he's working with Disney, but they canceled his year. What was that show he did?
Wander Over Yonder.
Yeah, Wander Over Yonder.
Oh, I hated that they did that. But
yeah. If they just bring him back and just work from an Adult Swim and just do whatever he wants,
or
great.
Or the creator of Chowder or Harvey Beats, maybe he could do something because his style is amazing. It's like I know like his adult jokes can work in Adult Swim.
Bro, we're going off topic, but
I know.
I have some feelings about him. How dare they? Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, how dare they cancel his shows? How dare they?
They did him dirty.
They do him, bro. He had a great show on Cartoon Network called Harvey.
Chowder.
No, was it? No, not.
The
Nickelodeon.
Harvey Beats.
Harvey Beats.
Yeah.
Harvey Beast.
Harvey Beats, and it's a great show about a kid.
He's a duck.
He's a duck. He's growing up, right? And he has all these weird, interesting friends. and the art style is just like in Chowder, like beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I've seen it.
And it's just
I've never seen this show.
And it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
No, for real. But the moment season 2 or half of that season or half of that season, they quickly move it to Nicktoons. And you never see that show ever again. It only had a couple new ones, and then that's it.
And then
they canceled that shit.
And then the team found out it got canceled on Twitter.
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, how dare they?
But anyway, back to Primal.
Yeah, but like
back to Primal.
But
survival of the fittest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much. All the little cute baby animals, everything cute dies.
Yeah.
Which reflects like nature for real, because like baby animals get ate first. Surprise.
Yeah.
Lions don't go for like the big buffalo; they go for the babies first, because they're easier to catch and eat. That's just the way of nature, and I think I like that the show doesn't shy away from that. Anything could be eaten at any time, and then we're talking about like the whole, I guess, fictional prehistoric era with cavemen and dinosaurs coexisting. So I'm pretty sure a dinosaur would not hesitate to eat like a little kid if it was there. It's like, there's food. I gotta survive just like you gotta survive.
Yep.
You on the food chain list, sorry.
Anything for you, Lat?
I don't like since he's the guy who made Samurai Jack. Honestly, like the first 5 seconds of the show, like it already told him. It was like his way of saying, this ain't for this ain't for like kids and stuff. But it's Adult Swim, because like I know like in Samurai Jack he dealt with like a little bit of blood, but like in this first 5, like a tiny bit.
Well, the way he got around it in Samurai Jack was when the episodes when he fought like robots, or like aliens or monsters.
Yeah,
it would be like oil from the robots, or like green blood or blue blood, because he could never use red blood.
Exactly.
So that's how he kind of got away with it. Right. So yeah.
So in this first like 5 seconds of the show, when he like just spears a fish, see all this blood. I'm looking at it like fish don't have all that blood. Whenever you go fishing for them like that, it's crazy. So it's like sort of like him saying, "All right, guys, this is my direction. All right, there's gonna be a shit ton of blood, and get ready for it."
Push it to the
So that was just my impression of like the first 5 seconds, and then like from the first 3 episodes that I've seen, like it's like a silent film. It was just like visually and creatively like going with like the plot. Because like what I said before, like there's no dialogue at all. Everything is through emotion, gestures, eyes, and the action. So, I mean, honestly, there's not much we could say about Primal as a show, other than what features it offers, like prehistoric era, and like the thing is like what makes this show even greater is because it's like silent. Like there's no dialogue in it. So literally you can, in your head, put your own dialogue in the show. So like whenever he's like there's gonna be like a shot where he's looking at a dinosaur like, are you for real? And it's like his face shows it, but your head says, is this dude for real? So like it makes it fun as you like go along, because even though it's not trying to be funny, it still has its own like comedy in it. So like I think it was episode 2 when he's hunting and the dinosaur is like hunting with him, and like he wants to eat, but the dinosaur keeps getting his food and he's getting tired and fed up with it, and it just gets funny because like the dinosaur just keeps wanting to get his food, and he's just trying to like survive himself, but they still stay together. And like he's a very emotional caveman. We don't even know his name. We can call him Prime for all we care. And like he,
from what I hear, is Spear.
Is it a Spear?
Yeah,
Spear.
Okay, that's a nice name. Okay, let's give him that.
Yeah,
So
Spear.
Spear.
Oh, that's Sapien?
So Spear is like
Spear Sapien.
So like he's a very like after his family died in the first episode. Spoiler, but like it's all just a given with what this story is going for, and like after that, like he becomes like this very emotional character, like almost a case study, but it's prehistoric times, so we can't really like get that in depth with it. All we know is from what we know from the human emotion and what he portrays. So like there's gonna be times where like he's he's happy, the times when he's like furious, mad, sad, depressed. Like bro, when he's depressed, whoo, you can't ain't no that's sad.
But to your point, when his family got killed, he went to that mountain, tried to jump, couldn't do it.
Yeah, man.
He saw that horizon.
Family.
So honestly, like from the first, like just from the 30 episodes that I've seen out of the 5 that I think there are, or that Jacob confirmed there are, sort of.
Yeah,
5 episodes. These 5 episodes, like they're not episodic, but they don't really tell a story, like a linear story. But that the adventure continues from wherever it left off.
Right.
So I don't know. Like I said, like there's not much I could go in details with because there's no dialogue. Everything's just visual. So literally, you have to see for yourself, like how well this show is like able to like captivate you, like catch you, grab your attention, and say, "Yo, look at all these moving pictures and how they tell this story without any dialogue." It's just like, it's great, it's fun. And then the episode 3, this is like the latest one I've seen, and like the one that I like the most so far. It's oh my god, it's so good. And the last part of it, like I wish I could, but I can't. I gotta watch it.
You got to.
You gotta watch it. So it's really good. It's a very, very good, sadly short Adult Swim cartoon that I highly recommend. You guys have to see it, and that's all you're gonna be doing, seeing it. As far as like music goes, there's not much of it. It's like grunts and a little bit of scores and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And background ambience.
I don't think it needs it.
Of course not. So literally, you could just like if you like hypothetical situation, if you're not supposed to be watching TV, or I mean, I'm sure most of you guys are grown as adults. So let's say you're captive, right, and you want to watch something while you're being captive. You can just watch the show. You don't really need like music or background noise or anything. It visually tells you the story. You can just enjoy yourself while you wait for your apparent rescue.
Yeah.
What?
Hypothetical situation. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but I know for generations now, we use that. It's not a film. We use this show as a nice point of reference of how animation should be. I mean, the concept of like, animation is for kids or for adults. I mean, it's for everyone, right? In a sense, But the problem is that a lot of animation here is put on a box, and so to watch something that's outside of the box is one of these greater good things that we have to kind of spread, especially for us since we went to school for this shit.
For sure. Yep, I enjoyed the show. It's got everything I like. Dinosaurs and violence.
Oh, that's a very simple.
Giant reptiles and violence.
Exactly.
That's what I like.
That's a one-tone man. Right
It's like
All
me.
for it.
If he made an animation about robots, I'll watch that in a heartbeat. Got robots, destruction. That's all I like.
Yeah, it's nice, and I like the shots of him. Well, I only seen just the first 2 episodes, but I do like in the first episode the shot of him just kind of standing on the ledge, contemplating if he's gonna jump off to kill himself because he just lost his family.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Nah, he definitely he invokes a lot of emotion. Even the sun was setting, and it's like, this is it. Yep, this is the end of the day. This is where I end it.
Yeah, that says a lot for someone who doesn't talk, right?
Yeah.
You better watch, yo.
Definitely.
Show him that you want more. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Show him that you want more.
Please. Yeah, it's good animation.
Good animation it has, indeed.
All right. What else? What else we got?
What else we got?
Updates.
Do later. Do little.
This
My
boy.
dumbass.
Do later.
Later. I guess
That
we'll
shit later.
end it here. If you listen to the SiXFramesPodcast.
The Dolittle trailer.
All right.
Starring Iron Man.
Iron Man and
From the hit Disney single.
Iron Man and the Fantastic Beasts.
The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Right, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe of the Fantastic
Featuring
Beasts.
Scar.
Like Narnia.
Yeah, right.
All right, so first impressions.
There's no Eddie Murphy.
Exactly. Next. Well, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. needs work, so
Yes.
now that he's done with the main MCU franchise films is playing Tony Stark, because we know how that ended, right? He died in the movies if y'all didn't know. So there you go.
Hey, Tony's dead.
So now this is his next project. He's going to be Dr. Dolittle. And correct me if I'm wrong, I guess it's based more off of the stories or the books. Or
Yeah, the
whatever
book.
The case may be. And
because the Eddie Murphy
travels the world.
Yeah, the Eddie Murphy movies are like, let's put Dr. Dolittle on Modern Times.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one, yeah, it's the story, the book, which I don't think we all read, so we don't. So we don't know. But hey, it has adventures of going to the seas and stuff like that, and he's talking to animals.
Yeah.
But it has Robert Downey in it. I'm down with it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it has like it's first. I mean, after the Lion King and Jungle Book, like we now know that they can make real animals do whatever they want in the movies now. So we see the gorilla and the giraffe and the elephants and the parrot and the dog and everything else just kind of hopping and skipping around and talking to Dr. Dolittle in the film, and it looks super hyper realistic. So I mean, there's no worries in that department when it comes to the effects and the CG. So I'm for it. I'll watch it because it's animals and I like animals. So. That's all I need. That's my excuse. I'm all for it. Did he have like a British accent in the trailer? Was that?
I think so.
I think so. All right. Whatever.
He's only laughing because
he saw Pirates of the Caribbean.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if the original Dr. Dolittle
he's taking the place of Johnny Depp. They ain't got Pirates of the Caribbean no more.
You know what it is? Because you saw him do sort of a British accent in Natural Born Killer.
Oh, Natural Born Killer.
So you hear him in there, it's like.
But then he did Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he did.
Right?
Sherlock Holmes.
He did Sherlock Holmes.
So I guess he's doing the Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, voice. Okay, all right. You got it, Robert. You got this. Do your thing, sir. Keep getting that work.
John Cena's in this movie.
Huh?
What?
Yeah,
Voice?
he's the because they got voice actors
Yeah.
for the animals.
But we didn't hear those voices though.
Nah, they didn't show them.
Only
They're
the
holding
tiger.
back.
Only the tiger.
Yeah, they're holding off on the voice actors because you know how Disney is. They kind of wait a little bit, and the closer we get, maybe they'll release another trailer.
Mhm.
Does it say who John Cena's voicing? Like which animal?
Nah.
I bet it's like
The gorilla.
either the gorilla. That'd be perfect for John Cena. The gorilla, either the gorilla or like the polar bear or something.
Probably.
You think he's the polar bear?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
One of the big animals. One of the big muscular
He's
animals.
like, you can't see me.
The one that you would expect to have more screen time.
Yeah, right. John Cena's voicing them. Okay. Who else? Anybody else?
Of
You know.
course, Tom Holland, Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer? Okay.
Yeah.
He's here too? Oh, this man expanding, man. Jesus Christ. This is like 5 movies he's been on.
Oh, goodness.
So he's like voicing 2 of them. He's making like another 2. And what? This? Oh my God. He gets around, huh?
I mean, he's young. He hasn't made a lot.
Mhm.
Can't just
Selena Gomez, Antonio Banderas.
Selena Gomez?
Oh, yes. Antonio Banderas, I think, is the villain in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, because they show him a few times real quick. Like, when you see him, you don't notice it at first.
Mhm.
But if you watch that trailer again, he's in it. I think he has like a big gray beard and like a bald head or a low cut.
So he's like the pirate from
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was great. He was great in that movie.
He's reprising
great in
his
that
role
movie.
as the evil pirate from Dr. Dolittle. I'm telling you, Pirates of the Caribbean. He's shifting gears.
Oh my gosh.
Adventures of Sinbad and the thieves.
But question though, who's overseeing this project? Is it Disney? Is it a different studio?
I thought it was Disney.
I thought it was. I don't know.
What
No,
does it say?
because the Eddie Murphy one was 20th Century Fox.
Oh,
So even though if it's Fox, it's still Disney. It has that Disney
Now
charm.
it is.
now it is.
Yeah, now it is.
John Cena plays somebody named Yoshi.
Oh.
Who could that be?
Yoshi from Smash?
Oh.
In any case, the trailer looks great. I don't know. We just have to see. It's one of those things like once like the full trailer and then how people react,
Mm-hmm.
how we get around watching movies.
Yeah.
It has to be like, all right, are we watching this or not? Because if we're not watching this, hey, catch those subtitles. Catch those subtitles later.
Mm-hmm.
Korean.
Yeah, but I could sure.
I
could
told
say-
you. I looked it up. John
What?
Cena's the polar bear.
Oh yeah.
Ha!
Ah.
Yoshi, an upbeat polar bear who wears a cap and bickers with Plimpton. Plimpton is a cynical ostrich. So I guess the polar bear and the ostrich go back and forth. When the ostrich is played by
Chris Rock?
no, not Chris Rock. The
Norman Donald?
No, it's the I don't know if you guys know this guy. He just did a movie with Batista. That Uber movie.
Oh.
With Batista, the Indian guy.
Yeah,
Uber,
the one we
Kumail.
watched.
I think his name is Kumail.
We watched him in the Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, he was he was the comedian in the
Oh.
Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Kumali?
Yeah,
Kumai?
Kumail
Kumail?
Nagiani.
Ninja?
Oh boy.
Okay.
I will butcher everyone thing. They can fight me.
I mean, you called.
Oh, Craig Robinson is in this. All right.
All right.
I like Craig Robinson.
He's
played
gonna play
Mouse.
Gorilla.
Who's playing the gorilla?
No, isn't he playing the Gorilla? That's an obvious choice.
No.
Craig Robinson. That's kind of messed up.
Oh, Rami Malek is playing the gorilla. He's the guy that did Freddie Mercury in Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
And
playing the gorilla.
And Mr.
Oh,
Robot.
you know why?
And Mr. Robot.
Oh, you know why? Because you see him in the trailer. That robot, that
gorilla.
that gorilla looks so sensitive.
Oh.
They're like, oh yeah, that's
he's super
that's,
nice.
Yeah, that has to be.
He's
him.
gonna do his solo song.
He's like, why all the humans mad at me?
Yeah,
Oh.
see, Antonio Banderas as Rasoli. Whoever that's supposed to be.
Ravioli, good.
Ravioli.
Yeah, that Batista movie, Stuber.
Yes, Stuber.
Sounds
Did you see
stupid.
it?
No, I didn't see it.
All right, so I saw it.
How was
I
it?
ain't going to theaters. I waited till it came out on.
Dividend.
Yeah.
DVD.
DVD.
And that
Check this recording back.
But it was whatever. It was supposed to be one of those buddy cop type films.
Yeah.
Where Batista's a police officer trying to get information to hunt down these people. So he pretty much like commandeered the Uber driver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need your car. I need you to take me here and go there. And he's like, what? That's not how this works. And he pretty much like, look, this is like official police business. Like, I legit need to track down these people. And you're like my only transportation right now. Because I'm like undercover and I don't want people to know who whatever excuse they make up to make it work, that's what they do.
I'm rolling my eyes so hard right now.
But like, if you want like a movie that's just like play in the background and you periodically look up to see like the action scene, I will say this: there is an action scene in the movie that's like pretty legit because it has
from the raid.
Yes, it has one of the fighters from the raid.
Oh,
What's
really?
his name?
The main guy.
The main guy.
Oh man, I don't know. His
You know
name.
what I'm talking about?
I know
the
you're
main
talking
guy
about.
from the raid. He's in it. He's one of the villains in the movie, and him and Batista go back and forth fighting.
I'll just watch that part.
Yeah, just watch that part. It's in the beginning too, so it's perfect. Like once it's done, you can cut the rest of the movie off.
Okay. Thank you.
But bro, Batista doing all sorts of like crazy like wrestling moves and like slamming them. Bro, I was like, all right, this is kind of dope.
Oh,
I like this part.
He did his Batista bone.
He didn't do the Batista. Bro.
Man,
The rock bottom room. Now you get Batista bump. Hey, this next Galaxy movie, he better do the Batista bump.
He better. Guardians of the Galaxy, Batista. I better see some moves, man. I need to see you in there German suplexing people, Batista bomb and everything.
Oh, going back to Kumail.
Yeah, Kumail.
Yeah, he's gonna be in the Eternals. So
He's one. Is he one of the Internals, or he's just in the Eternals?
he's just in the
movie?
Eternals. I don't
He's
know
just
so much
he's
about it.
in the Eternals. Okay.
He's just a hey. Anyway.
Yeah, he started to become more like popular now too. I'm starting to see him in more and more movies. All
Are
right.
you talking about? No.
All right. So Dr. Dolittle.
That's a wrap.
That's it for that. I mean, the trailer came out, so we'll see what happens when we actually get a chance to watch it. We'll give it our full review.
Yeah.
What else we got?
And finally, we got the Spiderman and the Velcro movie.
So Spiderman and Velcro. Spider-Man and Venom.
Velcro?
Come
So
on, man.
after Disney and Sony kissed and
High
made
makeup
up,
sense.
Right.
It was a bitter kiss.
it was a bitter kiss.
Oh,
It was
no.
the meme. Have you seen the meme with the Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like Star-Lord is Sony, and then us the fans we're Rocket Raccoon, and then Thor is Disney, and then so the crowd, us the fans of Rocket Raccoon, we're like, so who's in charge here? Star-Lord was like, I'm in charge, and Thor's like, of course you are.
Of course.
Of course. Sure.
I think it's more like
Whatever you want to believe. That makes you feel good. You're in charge, Sonny.
I like it more the one the baby boy one.
The baby boy. Oh, was it Snoop Dogg? And no. The girl, Sony is the girl, right?
Yeah.
And then baby boy is Disney.
Yeah.
And they fighting each other, and then they say, they on top of each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jody and
Jody. Yeah, Disney is Jody, and Sony is the girl.
And then I sent Snoop up like, and this is us the
Right.
That's
looking at this, you better fix that.
You better fix it. You better get it back together. Oh my goodness. So I guess they want to do a crossover, or
Yeah.
I mean, that was always been the idea.
Yeah.
that was the idea.
Yeah, they was building. I mean, they had Spider-Man first, obviously. So, and they were from Venom, they started building it up. But the reason they didn't really like start Venom off with Spider-Man, from what they claimed, was that because the MCU already took Spider-Man for like their movies, they decided to like go ahead and do like a standalone Venom film, and then like with that whole like new rising up of Venom, they'll use that to like branch over to like him meeting Tom Holland's Spider-Man in their Venom movie.
Okay, so is Venom gonna still be the villain, or are they gonna do like that weird like we fight at first and now we're
finding that common enemy?
We're like resistant buddies, like we'll help each other for the greater good.
Here's
That's
a real
like
question.
you type thing.
Will Sony do that?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who.
Yes.
Sony will do that.
Sony will do that. So that's most likely gonna be the plot. But we have the next Venom movie coming out first, and then the Venom and Spider-Man.
Yeah, but you're forgetting one character, Carnage.
Yeah, that's coming up next. That's
so he's not gonna be featured in that first movie at all after the
Carnage?
big tease. Yeah,
Oh, Carnage, and they announced the other one, the other symbiote, the female one, Screech.
Screech?
Yeah, she's gonna be in it. She's gonna be in it too. They confirmed.
Oh, I think
the lady from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
What was her name again?
She was like.
Remember the one that had the dreads?
Oh,
she was the sea goddess, and she like expanded and grew big.
The one that ruined the movie. Yeah. Hey, when she's like, "I'm the goddess all along." Like, yep, this movie's terrible now.
Right, and Kingdom Hearts 3 had her in there.
Had her in the actual game, yeah.
Yes, it
no.
took me out of it. I was like, "Get me back to Mickey." I was just like, "Oh nah, it's not doing it for me."
Yeah, that's what it screamed.
The Scream.
Yeah, Scream. It's gonna be.
I guess so. In the first movie with Venom and Spider-Man, you're not gonna get Carnage at all.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm just saying because
I know
since we're talking about it, it's like so we're not gonna have him after him having his big little dumb speech with his fake ass hair. It's like it's Afro Carnage. Ooh, cut to Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah. I don't know, man.
I can't tell you. They say they have plans. Like they've been like they said that they've been like building up to that moment.
I don't know.
So
I don't know who their project manager is, but somebody has to
For what?
rehire somebody. I'm talking about for Sony. I don't know who their project manager is. Somebody needs some glasses. I don't know. Like,
oh, this could look at whack. What?
Cause the thing about I mean, they confirm it, but they're also not confirm a lot of things. But the thing about it is like this whole thing is just confusing and weird anyway. So it's like, well, hope, just pray this Hail Mary attempt for something works out, because I don't even know. I don't even understand why people are so excited too, because it's like, why? It doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
This is a bad example of a standalone film. Joker exceeded all expectations. Who's excited for Venom 2? Crickets. I don't know, bro. I don't know, like, what to tell you. It's like, I'm not hyped.
Look, I get it for, if they do a sequel for Venom, okay, it makes sense. Because they did the movie.
Yeah,
but, now they're going to bring Tom Holland, and then they're going to bring another character, and they're going to bring this character. So, okay. Alright, how is this working?
It's like a lot of ambition, but you're not like having like full hope in the project.
And look, give credit to DC, because when they get ambitious, right, and it doesn't work out, they stop. They're like, okay, it's not working out. Let's just stop here. Let's rewind.
They do.
Sony's like, oh, you didn't like it? Well, let's continue on. Like, no.
Like, sorry, we already invested in 3 movies for this particular character. You're gonna have to ride it out.
Yeah.
You're gonna ride it out. That's your right. I have the option to hop off, alright?
For real, I don't have to spend money. You do know that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not forced to go to the movies to watch it.
Exactly.
But they're like, well, you are watching it. Oh, nope. But you are. No, I'm not.
I watch my friend's DVD.
Right. We'll see it somewhere, but just not in theater.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
I don't know. I'm just curious, like, what would happen if Venom 2 didn't do as well? You know, like if Venom 2 failed, what are they gonna do with the third movie?
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's the same thing that happened with with the Batman Superman movie. Like the first one did really well, even though it was terrible because people were just hyped to see it.
Yeah.
And then when the second one came out, it bombed because they already knew like, nah, I wasted my money the first time. Fool me once, you know what I mean? Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Not the George W. Bush version.
Fool me twice. You can't fool me twice. The old saying in Texas. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you ain't gonna fool me twice. Exactly. So that's them. They gotta take that risk. Mm-hmm. They're gonna have to do something to like really entice people to go. I mean, they would have to hint that Spider-Man's gonna be somewhere in it. That'd be the only way like they could really pull in the masses to come to the theater. Because it's just gonna be Venom again, and then they just throw in some other symbiotes to kind of fill up the fluff. So you're just giving me one just with different symbiotes that he's gonna fight, is it?
I kind of imagine this going.
They would have to introduce more Spider-Man villains or something.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of imagine this going somewhere, like Tom Holland Spider-Man coming out in the background. Mm-hmm. Venom spots him. Hate you. Carnage comes out. Oh man, I hate that guy too. He's wearing red and blue. What? Another guy comes in. Oh man, Spider-Man. We should all team up against. We got Venom too.
Lord.
That's the only way they can do it, bro.
It's not.
No, Venom
That's
is
the
like,
only way to bomb.
I think more so is Venom's like, I love you so much, but I like this guy.
Bro.
Yeah,
it's a love triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I'm curious to see how that goes. Because the symbiote wants to be with Spider-Man because of his power and his strength.
But since they reversed it in the solo movie,
that's what I'm saying. That's gonna be weird because the symbiote wants to leave Eddie Brock to go to Spider-Man. Because Spider-Man's already strong and agile, so it's like I could really benefit. I could amplify him to a whole nother level. I need to be with Peter Parker.
But since in the solo movie, Eddie Brock and the symbiote have a love relationship, they even make out loud. In the movie.
Yeah, they also takes over the lady and she kisses him.
I want to see how does Eddie Brock gets jealous.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, and the symbiote leaves him.
Nah.
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility.
That's not like a possible plot.
Because the symbiote doesn't have Spider-Man's powers. So.
Yeah, and then seeing Spider-Man in action, he'd be like, "Oh, I want that ass." Eddie.
Bye.
Bye.
And Eddie's like, "What? I thought we had something.
Look, we had something.
That part when we kissed, that was a moment we had shared. But right now, I want somebody better for my life."
Oh my god.
It's not you, it's me. Literally. Bye, Eddie.
And then, like, more or less, he'll, like, try to get to Spider-Man. Spider-Man kicks his ass. He's like, all right, Eddie, let's go over and kick his ass real quick. How about that? Just good old days, me and you. And then hopefully he'll, like, take over, like, after he's done kicking his ass or whatever. I don't know.
No, it'll take over, and then it's pretty much you're fighting Eddie Brock trying to find Spider-Man who's in the dark suit.
I don't know how that works.
You belong to me! Get away from me! I thought you erased. I erased your number. I've been ghosting you. Have you noticed?
Stop
spreading order.
Stop sending me those love letters.
Stop it. That son is not mine.
It's like, I forgot about you already. Let me move on. Move on.
You're embarrassing me. Oh, what a story. Now I'm actually looking forward to it, that's okay. If it's like that, I'm looking forward to it.
The only moment is when probably Eddie saves the symbiote's life.
Oh, boy. Oh,
and now he becomes Venom again.
I'm gonna walk out. Fuck
yeah, I'm gonna walk out.
I think I'm good now.
I've had enough.
I'm done with it.
Time for me to go.
I guess the last question with this whole thing is, what are they gonna do with Peter Parker's character?
Oh, in Sony's case, they just chuck him in there like, hey, produce something. Okay.
Right after he does his movies for Disney, then Sony's just gonna take him and be like, all right, now it's time for you to do your movies with us.
Yeah,
No, but like, are they gonna like start from beginning with Peter
No.
and Uncle Ben again?
No.
No.
Like, hey guys, we're coming for the
You know what?
fourth time.
That probably be their biggest giveaway. But like, hey, I know you like the MCU, but guess what? We brought Uncle Ben.
Oh,
Hey,
my
you
God.
know
And Uncle Ben's gonna be played by Tobey Maguire.
Y'all wanted it. All right. Get ready for the flashback.
Great power comes great responsibility.
And he cries. and then pow, pow, and then he's like, Peter, I'm dying.
To be perfectly honest, I'll probably weep.
Oh boy.
Oh my.
I don't care no shit. I don't care whoever is playing Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben, that's my Ega.
Well, if they're gonna do all that, they better bring back Bonesaw.
They don't back.
Have somebody play his Bonesaw for Macho Man.
Oh my god.
Just throw them all in the mix. And then we gotta do the dance scene again.
Yep.
The emo dance scene.
No.
So that when Tom Holland gets the symbiote, he turns dark, and now he goes through his dark phase.
Oh no, his
He's
suit.
dancing in the street and pushing people out the way.
Instead of him dancing by himself, he danced with the suit. He slow danced with it.
Oh, no.
You know how to treat a suit well.
Unlike that other guy.
That Eddie.
Right, and Brock's sick and sweating all the goddamn time.
Drinking
Oh.
Pepto-Bismol.
Right, he was just dirty and disheveled the whole movie. It was great.
Always thinking about that other girl. But not me.
No, like they're in the car, like before they get in the car, like Tom Holland, he opens the door. Samuel's like, "Oh, thank you. You know, when I'm with Eddie, he never treats me this like this. He doesn't do it. You treat me like a woman."
I want to say this. If you see, I think the turning point is when like they're walking around and he sees MJ. He's like, "Oh, who's this?"
That's the other girl.
That's the other girl?
Put the snake
I'm
on
your
it.
main girl.
She's the side chick.
You trying
For
to get
real?
out?
For real. He does do the hand gesture.
The symbiote comes out,
I bet. You better not see MJ in your phone.
I'm about to fight that bitch.
That's funny.
Symbiote just kidnaps Jerry. Bitch, that's my man.
The symbiote can be like, "Who slept with him first? Huh?
Whoa.
Who kept them warm?"
Whoa. Alright, hold on.
Oh man.
Who is there to appreciate?
Well, whatever direction this movie wants to take, I hope it's this one. Where it becomes just like a...
I don't care. Sony, take that idea. That's free.
Yeah, right. That is
No,
great.
right?
By all means, you're more than welcome to use that concept.
Turn the symbiote into a hood rat.
Give it to you. Give it to you.
So that's Spider-Man and Venom and what we think about it and what the many potentials we could go with it. Yeah, that's the SiXFramesPodcast episode 29.
Yay!
Tune in again next week.
For more
Chilling adventures.
next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Well, I guess next week, I don't know.
Next week.
Whatever
Whenever we post this,
Stay tuned.
just listen out.
And then for those of you that's caught in hostage, just don't worry. Someone will find you. Not sure who, but
What? Where's that come from?
Well, Disney always finds a way.
Okay.
bye.
Hey, be careful. We don't want to get canceled. And thank you for listening to another Six Frame Podcast. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, email us at SiXFramepodcast@gmail.com. That is SiXFramepodcast@gmail.com. You can also catch us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. 6 Frames. Don't forget to rate and follow us on our Apple Podcasts and Podbean. And our YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to 6 Frames and ring that bell for notifications so you never miss another episode. So what are you waiting for, nerd? Subscribe, like, rate, do all that stuff. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!